What's up, everybody? Lighting's in kind of weird in here today. Don't know why. All right, here we go.
This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Do want to thank our sponsor, again, R&B Car Company. R&B Car Company is a great selection of trucks, cars, SUVs, minivans, motorcycles, crossovers, you name it. They got special promotions and offers happening right now. Go to rbcarcompany.com. So obviously impeachment is underway in the Senate, and it has been a fiasco today, to say the least. But right, they're basically arguing over the rules today. And it's getting ready to resume here in just a few minutes. If anything is important or interesting, we will go ahead and pot it up, maybe on the television, let you guys kind of listen in on what's been happening. But Mitch McConnell is making the Democrats really upset because he's doing things that they have done, which, again, if you are a Democrat, you can't be upset when the things that you have done in the past get used against you. The same would be said for Republicans too, but especially over the past, 20 years or so, Democrats have changed the rules a lot, and they've changed the rules to benefit them when they had the ability to do it. And then now, a lot of those strategies are being used against them. And because those strategies are being used against them, they are furious. They're really upset. So one of the things that they started off with being upset about was just the mere fact that this impeachment trial proceed with the same rules that the Clinton impeachment trial proceeded with. They didn't like that. That wasn't good enough. And the reason it wasn't good enough is because Clinton wasn't convicted, and so they assumed that Trump will be convicted either. Of course, everybody knows that Trump is not going to be convicted here. Senate Majority Leader, this is the Washington Times. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Tuesday that his chamber will remain in session all night until the Senate agrees to the proposed rules being offered in the afternoon. The statement pushes back against attempts by Senate Democrats to introduce amendments to alter the proposed rules that the GOP majority is planning to put into place. Republicans, however, say that the rules are the same as what the chamber agreed to unanimously in 1999 during the President Clinton trial. He says, I will move to table such amendments and protect our bipartisan precedent, he said. Can the Senate still serve our founding purpose? Can we still put fairness, even-handedness, and historical precedent ahead of the partisan passions of the day? That's what he said. The answer to that is a very simple no. The Democrats are rejecting those rules. And again, we played you a montage yesterday of the same Democrats that are taking the leadership roles in this impeachment trial as they opposed all of the stuff that was happening with the Clinton impeachment trial that they now support. Okay, so they opposed him when it was Clinton. They support him when it's Trump. And that comes down to the rules. And Mitch McConnell has made no secret that he is basically wanting to carry this trial out in the same way that the Clinton impeachment trial was carried out. He's like, look, we set precedent then. It's the only third time this has happened. We set precedent then. That's obviously the closest one to modern times. Makes sense that we would just proceed with the rules that we have set forth for this type of a situation. Mitch McConnell's also warned that calling witnesses could be a long impeachment trial, which I think most of you understand that would be the case. He said that he warned his colleagues today in his speech on the Senate floor that calling witnesses in the impeachment trial for President Donald Trump would prolong the process. He was speaking ahead of the opening of the impeachment trial proceedings, arguing in favor of a procedural motion that will allow opening arguments by both sides before the Senate takes a second vote on whether to call additional witnesses. We also have a situation here where I guess he did do one rules change, where basically you get 24 hours over 3 days instead of 2 days to make your opening statements now. And that would be, that should suffice. So basically, he's allowing you to extend it out. You get the same amount of time. You can do it over 3 days instead of 2 days, which should theoretically benefit both sides. But the interesting thing today, one of the big ones, was that the Democrats made a move today to get Trump's lawyer removed. That's an amazing move. House Democrats launched a new demand for the Senate for President Donald Trump, the White House counsel, Pat Cipollone, they wanted to go ahead and they wanted him to be taken off of the legal defense team. He must either disclose any pertinent information that he has about Democrats' substantive impeachment claims or otherwise be dismissed as a Trump defense lawyer at the trial. That's not how any of this works. And like I said, they're making the case in the House. And I know that you've heard this a million times, but it just needs to be said over and over and over again. They are making the case right now that they did not prove their case that the president was guilty of anything when they did their investigation in the House. So that's all they're saying right now. We don't have enough evidence to actually convict him, and therefore we want to bring in more evidence by using the Senate. And the Senate says, no, that's not what we're here for. You conduct that, and then we listen to everything that you guys discovered and found, and we make a ruling. That's what the whole thing is supposed to be floating around. You may be a material witness to the charges against President Trump, even though you are also his advocate, House Democrats impeachment managers wrote in a letter to the lawyer. Let's see. At a minimum, you must disclose all facts and information as to which you have firsthand knowledge that will be at issue in connection with the evidence you present or arguments that you make in your role as the president's legal advocate, so that the Senate and Chief Justice can be appraised of any potential ethical issues, conflicts, or biases. Ted Cruz, he was having none of it, and he mocked him for it. And let's see, what did he write? All right, so he put this on Facebook. I want to go ahead and read you what Senator Cruz wrote. Democrats opening salvo on impeachment. They demand Trump get rid of his lawyer. Absurd request. Unlike the House, the Senate will have a fair trial, and that means that we won't deny the president his lawyer on the day that the trial starts. The Sixth Amendment provides the accused the right to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Note that the Sixth Amendment does not apply to the prosecution. It protects only the accused. Under the standard put forth by the House Democrats today, that any potential fact witness cannot serve as counsel in the impeachment hearing, there is an obvious person who should be disqualified. Adam Schiff. Exactly. The Democrats' own line here that Pat Cipollone should not be involved with this case would be used extensively against Adam Schiff, and Adam Schiff would have to be removed from his post. Schiff, it has been alleged, spoke directly with the so-called whistleblower and may have even helped him draft the complaint that launched his entire impeachment process. So maybe we should disqualify Schiff as a lawyer and schedule him instead as a witness to explain his role in the creating of evidence in this proceeding. Exactly. Of course, we know that Cruz is a lawyer. Let's see, what else do we have here? Speaking of Adam Schiff is really adamant that Hunter Biden should not testify. So let's see. Impeachment leader Adam Schiff makes a not-so-subtle appeal to the Chief Justice Roberts. This is Byron York. One of the names that has been floated for Republicans is Hunter Biden as a witness, again, who was on the board of the Ukrainian energy company Burisma while his father was vice president. Oh, by the way, did anybody see that Elizabeth Warren's son apparently made a movie that was bankrolled by Iran? Did we see that? That's a developing story today. Sorry, I didn't have my phone on vibrate. It would certainly be fair for the president and his team to be able to call witnesses that can provide material information on the charges. It would not be appropriate for the president to seek to call witnesses merely to try to perpetuate the same smear campaign that was foiled when his plot was discovered. That's what Schiff told O'Donnell. Hunter Biden, for example, can't tell us anything about whether the president withheld military aid, whether he withheld that aid to coerce Ukraine or to conduct political investigations, or why he wouldn't meet with the president of Ukraine. Schiff also added, the only purpose in putting him on their list is they wish to trade material witnesses like Mr. Bolton and Mulvaney and others for immaterial ones that will allow them to continue to attack the political opponents. Yeah, no. Hunter Biden, as we have told you, is critical to all of this because, again, the accusations against him are years old. They predate Donald Trump even becoming the president of the United States. And if there is a modicum of legitimacy to those allegations, as numerous government officials in Ukraine say, then the president wouldn't be doing anything illegal or wrong, and it certainly wouldn't be politically motivated if you have an actual accusation of criminal activity here, and there is a treaty between the two countries to investigate, especially in the discovery phase. That's what is central to all of this. So they really don't want Hunter Biden to testify. And of course, there's many reasons why they don't want that to happen. But of course, Schiff, again, he should be on the witness list. He should be testifying because Schiff would, just putting him under testimony would just unravel this entire process. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with the light today. Not really sure. Maybe it's the snow behind us. What? I was just I'm silhouetted out on the live stream. I don't know if it's because of the snow or what.
Plenty of sunshine today. Temperatures warming up to 32 degrees. For tonight, we drop down near 20 underneath clear skies. For Wednesday, we see sunshine to start out today, but clouds increase as we head towards the evening, with temperatures warming up to 37 degrees. Even make it to 40 for Thursday. Could see a chance for some drizzle for the first half today. We'll definitely hold on to more cloud cover. And then as we get towards the evening, that's when we'll start to see that wintry mix begin to move on in. Talking mix of rain and snow for Friday, with temperatures topping out near 40 degrees.
I'm coming down with that new Chinese virus. Just don't feel good today. So I could turn this little light off. I guess super dark. Honestly, don't know what's going on, folks. No clue.
Remember when you brought your car into that big dealership and found out it would cost a lot to get it repaired? So you brought it into an independent shop and learned you could save some money. Second opinions can save you money in retirement too. Have you taken your retirement plan to an independent advisor for a second opinion? Howard Bailey has helped over 1,000 families craft their retirement roadmap with meaning and purpose so they can spend more time doing the things they love and less time worrying about their financial security. Call 866-482-9559 now and schedule a complimentary visit with our independent team at Howard Bailey. Take control of your financial future. Don't let hidden fees and unnecessary taxes affect your retirement. Call the Howard Bailey team at 866-482-9559 and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. That's 866-482-9559.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results.
Hi, my name is Dave Anderson. I've been selling new cars at Lock Monday Motors for over 30 years.
And I'm Greg Slagle. I've been selling pre-owned vehicles at Black Monday Motors for 16 years.
Greg and I have been working together a long time, and every year there was a lot of excitement at tax time.
Yeah, that's right. We have so many vehicles we were running out of places to park.
We have a tremendous offering of new Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Dodge, Buick, and GMC models. And we stock the best and most desirable from these premium brands.
We have all makes and models of pre-owned vehicles, something for every need and every budget.
There are a lot of options for what you can do with your tax return. Buying a newer pre-owned vehicle from Lock Monday Motors is the best way to make that dollar go further and get more for your money.
Using that money as a down payment lowers your monthly payment. You could be driving something newer.
What's up, Finn? How you doing, man?
Lock Monday Motors values of honesty and integrity are evident to customers and employees alike. That's why so many of us have been here for so long and have customers that come back over and over for all their vehicle needs.
Shop the inventory right now at BlackMondayMotors.com.
I'm Dave Anderson.
And I'm Greg Slagle. It's at Black Monday Motors in Elkhart, a tradition of caring since 1954.
Looking to get your business off to a fast start in the new year? It's go time. Switch to Comcast Business today. Get fast, reliable internet on the nation's largest big-speed network. Automatic internet backup to keep you connected even if the power goes out. And cloud-based security so you can protect all your connected devices against new threats like phishing and malware. Greenlight your business in the new year with a great deal. Get started now with 75 megabit internet for $49.95 per month for 2 years when you add 2 voice mobility lines and sign up for paperless billing and auto pay. For a limited time, get a free $100 prepaid card when you switch today. Kick your year off the right way with fast, reliable internet for your business. There's never been a better time than now. So what's stopping you? Call 1-800-501-6000 today. Comcast Business, beyond fast.
Okay, getting into Discord and text messaging.
Hello,
Mishawaka Clyde here from Core Life Eatery, Mishawaka. Core Life Eatery is located at 5728 Great Road at the corner of Great Road and Indian Ridge. Supervisor shop. In the end of January, Core Life Eatery would like to help you kick off the new year. So each year, this radio ad and receive 10% off. Also, from Core Life Eatery between 2 p.m. and receive 25% off. Now, let's go and tell you a little bit more about Core Life Eatery, Mishawaka. Hello, Michiana. Ben Roscoe, kitchen manager at Core Life Eatery. At Core Life, we are a fixed casual company concept. Our recipes range from the classics to everything outside the box. We are 99% gluten-free. We cater to all dietary lifestyle.
Oh, Farrakhan's back online.
Whatever you may have. People are not just concerned about
Or is he not?
eating, but what goes in their body. There's no artificial flavors or colors or preservatives in our food. So everything is clean and you just feel good when you eat it. It doesn't slow you down. It doesn't give you that midday energy drop like a lot of the other restaurants in the area. Core Life, eat strong, live strong.
Start your next project today at Menards and save 11% off.
Well, we've got our first case in the U.S. of that Chinese virus, so
With 11% off.
yay!
Save on energy costs, plus get 11% off. Add stylish storage to any room with new shelving and save with 11% off now at Menards. 11% off, good through savings or mail and rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Michiana's Morning News is now on Facebook. Follow us.
All right, here we go.
Michiana's Morning News.
Your top stories, traffic and weather. Weekday mornings 5 till 9 on 95.3 and
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Just giving you the updates. We got Adam Schiff. He's foaming at the mouth right now on the floor. And remember, he's a part of the legal team that is prosecuting the president. And the president, of course, has his defense team. Well, Democrats are trying to remove one of his lawyers, and the White House has responded to all of that. Let's see. This is the Daily Caller. The White House responded Tuesday after House Democrats demanded that the White House counsel Pat Cipollone turn over facts and information before the Senate starts its impeachment trial of President Donald Trump. The Democratic impeachment managers alleged in the letter that he is a material witness in the impeachment probe and thus may not be able to ethically represent the president in the trial. The White House slammed the idea in a statement, calling it completely absurd, and that the president's lawyer would have to turn over protected documents and confidential information, which, of course, wouldn't work. I can't do that. This is all a tactic for them to figure out what his defense is. Now, the Democrats are an utter joke. They have no case, and this latest political stunt proves it. The idea that the counsel to the president has to turn over protected documents and confidential information is ludicrous, and to imply that he can't represent the president of the United States in an impeachment proceeding is completely absurd. That is the Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. Gidley also alleged that the Democrats are operating with a double standard because House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff, one of the impeachment managers, is also a material witness in the case, as we highlighted in the last segment. So the White House is hitting back. Most of the Republicans are hitting back on this. It's pretty transparent what they're trying to do. Now, something else that I found very interesting and even amusing today was that the press is really upset. The press is upset because apparently the First Amendment has totally been suspended in this entire process. Now, do you know how the First Amendment was suppressed? Well, it seems that the media at the impeachment trial, they have to stay in a cordoned-off media area. They're not allowed to freely roam the halls of the Senate like they usually do in order to go ahead and get up alongside senators, and in this case, representatives, in order to go ahead and question them as they walk. You can't do that during the impeachment process. They've basically been corralled into these media areas. So when people come out of the impeachment process, they are able to continue to walk, okay? But the reporters are not allowed to walk with them. So if the reporter wants to go ahead and get a statement from somebody and ask any questions, they have to yell it out, and that person, the senator or the representative, has to come over to them in order to answer that question. If they choose not to, they can just keep walking, and the media cannot continue to stalk them and ask them those questions. Now, of course, we are dealing with a trial as opposed to a normal session of Congress, so it's a little different, and the press is really upset about it. They're talking about this being a dark day for democracy and freedom of the press and all that other stuff. Keep in mind, the press is not being censored in any way. They are simply, they are in an area where they can't harass potential witnesses and participants in the trial. It's really that simple. And if somebody wants to talk to the press, they can, but ultimately they can't just stalk them throughout the hallways like they typically do. Now, as they're out there, one of the ones that's really pushing this is Matt Laszlo. Matt Laszlo is, I forget where he's from. Oh, it doesn't really matter, but so Matt Laszlo's out there. He's really butthurt about the media being kept in an area. He basically says that we are not sheep. And okay. You realize that this is pretty commonplace in politics for the press to be cordoned off into a specific area. Like, that happens a lot. And in fact, remind me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Hillary Clinton would corral the press behind a rope. And as she would walk, they would keep the press away from her so they couldn't talk to her. Remember that? And I don't remember. I keep forgetting this. Sorry, people keep sending me messages in the middle of my show. I don't remember there being a ton of butthurt about that by the media. I mean, I'm sure that there was some that were probably irritated by it. I remember Obama doing that, corralling the press into certain areas. I remember that happening at a Bernie rally once. So this is nothing new. And we're dealing with, again, a Senate trial where we're dealing with an impeachment trial, and the press is just, they've got their own area where they're going to be at, so they don't have free reign for everything. The idea that somehow you are being abused and denied your free press or First Amendment rights is laughable on its face. But that's the attitude that they're taking. They're just pretending that they're being victimized in some way, shape, form, or fashion, when in fact they are, of course, not. People are doing their best to go ahead and mock them about all of this, but it's still pretty interesting. 2015, Hillary Clinton reporters kept behind moving rope line in New Hampshire parade. There you go. All the reporters. It shows the reporters being roped and basically lassoed in behind this rope. Now, I guess that doesn't matter. It's only the Republicans that are doing these sorts of things, which, of course, is absurd. This is not a Republican thing, but I digress. So they're continuing to run around and pretend that they're being victimized or some other nonsense. Of course, they are not being victimized. But now you've got this. This is, hold on a second. I thought this was, is this Bill Barr? No. Bob Barr, not Bill Barr. Bob Barr, Representative Bob Barr. He wrote an article for the Daily Caller. And the House impeachment managers and the lawyers for the president have both filed their memorandums for the Senate impeachment trial, which gets underway in earnest today. While the two documents are nearly identical in length, the president's is by far the stronger document. Neither memorandum breaks new legal, political, or constitutional grounds, but there was no expectation that they would. The only new evidence, if it can be characterized as such, is that the manager's memorandum includes references to matters that came to light in the month since the two articles of impeachment were passed by the House. The managers discuss statements recently made by Ukrainian-American operative Lev Parnas in television interviews and refer also to the GAO office memorandum released last week after being requested by Democratic Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen. Now, the GAO found fault with the grounds on which the Office of Management and Budget temporarily delayed the release of military assistance dollars to the Ukraine last summer. Now, the GAO has been wrong about these things in the past. And so the GAO, and Democrats have seized on this, the GAO has basically said that they believe that the president acted inappropriately and temporarily delaying aid to the Ukraine, which, again, would be hysterical because Joe Biden would be more guilty of that than the president would be. But it would also like to point out that the GAO said that President Obama broke the law 7 times. And nobody called for President Obama to be impeached. Well, I mean, okay. People did call for him to be impeached. I'm talking about officially, all right? There wasn't an official apparatus to get him impeached. So the GAO, if the GAO making this statement qualifies for President Trump to be impeached, which again, this is a highly debatable issue, then Obama should have been impeached at least 7 times based on the GAO. All right. And the Parnas thing, this Les Parnas thing, I keep bringing this up. This is an old story that was from November. Okay. November of last year. Rudy Giuliani has made it crystal clear. He also says that he has tapes, by the way. Rudy Giuliani's made it clear that he's going to rip this Parnas individual apart because he says he has tapes and records and things of that nature. What I want to remind everybody about is that not only did Rush Limbaugh predict that this was going to come back up at impeachment as if it were something new, even though it's a November story, I want to remind everybody, you ready for this? First of all, that Parnas has been indicted by the Department of Justice. Okay, that you just lead off with that. The Ukrainian foreign minister, the Ukrainian president, President Trump, the Department of Justice, Devin Nunes, Chris Keating, Victor Shokin, and MSNBC have all said that Parnas is lying about what he is claiming. The people that were in the meeting that Parnas claims he had all of this come down, where he says they knew that this was quid pro quo, the people who were in that meeting said that that wasn't true and that wasn't accurate. This was actually discussed in the hearings in the impeachment trial. Representative Jordan ripped this whole issue apart months ago. So the idea that this is brand new information, again, is just patently false. It's absurd. It's not new. It's old information, and everybody involved says that Parnas is lying. Everybody says that Parnas is lying. The only people who are saying that he's telling the truth are the Democrats, who need him to be believed because that helps bolster their case somewhat, even though it really doesn't bolster their case at all. So it's the only thing that they have where he's saying that, oh, it's quid pro quo, but nobody else had any idea that it was quid pro quo. So even if he thought it was quid pro quo, or he, air quote, knew it was quid pro quo, the Ukrainians didn't, which means it wasn't. So just like that, if the Ukrainians did not understand it was quid pro quo, it wasn't quid pro quo, which again, we get into this, not illegal anyway. So it's, right now, it's not looking very good. I mean, it wasn't looking very good at the very beginning. Barr continues, even if the Senate decides to consider this new evidence, however, it adds nothing to the underlying question confronting the upper chamber, whether President Trump is guilty of the offenses alleged against him by the Democratic majority in the House and should be removed from office. If the grounds on which this seminal question is to be answered are to be gleaned from their first filings, the answer is a resounding not guilty. He goes into detail on why that is, but again, we have to point out that the two charges of impeachment, the two articles of impeachment against him, are not actual crimes. And again, they're not quid pro quo. There's a reason that they had to abandon the quid pro quo argument, and that's because there wasn't any. So this is going to be an interesting fiasco. They're still debating the rules. Democrats are still trying to get what they can get. Republicans, who hold all of the power over here, are basically saying they're going with the rules that they used in 1999. It's get over it. You know, we can debate it. We can yell about it all we want, but the vote's going to go the Republican way. And that's pretty much where it's going to be. And then we'll keep giving you updates throughout the rest of the week on this fiasco. And if it goes longer than that, we'll continue to do it then as well. We have more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station, MNC.
All right.
Moving forward, a federal judge rejected a motion from the university to dismiss the case. The lawsuit names Notre Dame along with several federal agencies for their role in a deal that gave Notre Dame an exemption for the contraceptive mandate of the Affordable Care Act. With the exemption, the university changed its policy to cover only what they call simple contraceptives and requires those on the school's health plan to pay out of pocket. A release from one of the plaintiffs, Irish for Reproductive Health, says nobody should have to choose between what is right for their body and life and what they can afford. The South Bend Review reports there is a pretrial hearing scheduled for March. Brian Davis, MNC News.
And an organization in Michigan is looking to designate Berrien County as a Second Amendment sanctuary.
The aptly named Michigan for 2A sanctuary.
Berrien County. That's funny.
With the organization, tell WSBT, they're fed up with the push for new gun laws. Per a statement from the group, their proposal appears to have at least some support as the council is talking to the prosecutor and sheriff before they make a decision. The group's Facebook page describes themselves in part as a statewide effort that will organize each county in Michigan to submit a resolution to force our elected officials to acknowledge our Second Amendment rights. The page has more than 85,000 members. Darren Wright, MNC News.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Rich Dennison. The Senate trial of President Trump on abuse of power and obstruction of Congress is underway in Washington. White House Attorney Nancy Pelosi saying Democrats have no impeachment case against the president. The only conclusion will be that the president has done absolutely nothing wrong. House Intelligence Committee Chair Hendrickson saying the president has instructed their investigation and a return innocent. Do not make this law. Democrats say the president is guilty of the charges laid out in the impeachment for illegally withholding aid to Ukraine in an effort to force that country's government to get dirt on political rivals. A U.S. citizen who recently returned on a trip to central China has been diagnosed with a new virus that's planned for at least 3 deaths and hundreds of illnesses in 5 countries.
Why are they saying 3 deaths? It's 6.
America is listening.
Minimum of 6.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialists, first way forecast.
Clearing skies and warm winds in most of the city conditions. Temperatures dropping down to 32 degrees. For tonight, under clear skies, we'll see a low of 20 degrees. And then for Wednesday, we'll move to 37 with most of the city skies start today, but clouds increase as we head toward the evening. And the ABC 7 first one will be from West on the west.
Weakness in beans pulled corn lower today. This is Who's Your Ag Today's closing farm market report. Persisting pessimism about China sticking to the details of the Phase 1 trade deal, making those promised purchases, pressured beans to double-digit losses today. Wheat, though, higher on prospects of tightening supplies globally. The corn market pulled lower by wheat beans. March 387.5 down a penny and 3/4. May and July down a penny and 3/4 as well. May finishing at 3.90.
Oh, okay.
3.99 March beans though 9.16.
They're pushing for it, Speed.
May 9.
It's not official yet, but they're pushing for it.
12 cents off on the July contract, 9.43.5. March wheat goes 11 higher, 5.81.5, and up 2 cents on Fed live cattle, 126.37. Down 32 February wheat hogs, 67.35. I'm Andy Eubank. Who's Your Ag Today? Indiana's Farm Network.
Fox Business Report brought to you by Modern Kitchen and create your dream living spaces so you can redesign, remodel, and do wonders. Modern Kitchen on McKinley, east of Ash Road and Oak Road.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report. Stocks are lower in the final hour of trading on Boeing troubles and coronavirus concerns. Shares of U.S. Airlines and Fly to China are down on growing fears about the outbreak. United and Delta is down more than 4%. Shares of Boeing were briefly halted in afternoon trading, adding to the downturn, falling more than 5.5% on news that the company doesn't expect regulators to sign off on the balance 737 MAX jet.
Oh, boy. Now another Michigan lawmaker is coming forward to say that the fellow senator of hers harassed her too. This is the same guy that said that that reporter would have some fun with those high school kids. Oh, boy. Here, actually use this link. Don't use the other link. That link helps us out.
At Capital One, you can open a new savings account in about 5 minutes and earn 5 times the national average. Banking with Capital One means 5 times the savings to help pay for your perfect honeymoon. Or 5 times the savings toward your family's perfect vacation. It's time to help make your savings goals come true. This is Banking Reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and apply. Legal information based on retail state national rates. Capital One and FDIC.
Hello, I'm Dennis with H&H Gold Buyers in downtown Alpha, and I want to buy your
Outpost Sports in Mishawaka is going to hold a store closing sale as the owners ponder retirement.
platinum and diamonds. You may not realize it, but gold and silver are at a 5-year high. So now is a great time to look through your dress drawers, your closets, and all those other places you've been keeping things to pass on someday to your children. Because shocking as it may seem to you, they really don't want your old gold, jewelry, or silver to wear or use. And with the money you will receive from your gold, silver, platinum, and diamonds, you can go on a cruise, take a mini vacation, or put the money in a bank to save for something special. So why not bring your unworn jewelry, unused items to H&H Gold Buyers and leave with cash in your pocket to spend any way you want? That's H&H Gold Buyers at 221 North Main Street, across from McDonald's in downtown Elkhart.
Message and data rates may apply. Earning your degree from one of the top business schools in the country might sound impossible to fit into your workload. But what if there were a business degree that advanced your career skills and gave you access to world-renowned faculty, leaders, and mentors all on your schedule? One that opened doors to some of the most influential CEOs, tech companies, law firms, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. And what if you could earn that degree in as little as 16 months, 100% online? Find out more. Text DRIVE to 79645. Start on the path to earning your MBA or Business Analytics Master's degree online from the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University today. Learn more about the graduate programs from the top-ranked W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University, offered 100% online. Text DRIVE to 79645. That's DRIVE to 79645.
What's the difference between a bed from Elkhart Bedding and a national brand? Two things. The label and the price. Our materials and construction are the same with the national brand, but because we're factory direct, we eliminate warehouses and middlemen. So the Elkhart Bedding everyday price is less than sale prices at other stores. Like our 2-sided queen sleep set for just $299. Get the most bed for your money. By factory direct at Elkhart Bedding. Find out more at elkhartbedding.com.
Doors are opening across Indiana with new careers, opportunities, and adventures, creating an exciting future in the Hoosier State. And the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority wants to help you open the door to your first home with its homebuyer program to make homeownership much more affordable. Cement your future at home in Indiana with down payment assistance from IHCDA. For more information, visit homeownership.in.gov.
This message is sponsored by the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority and this station.
From the Final Phase Electric Studios. From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595. 953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. All right, so I'm reading some comments on the Tribune's website. Apparently, some people in South Bend still think South Bend's population is growing. They should listen to this show more because it's not growing. It barely grew. It was basically statistical non-growth because of the birth rate. But it actually dwindled in population the last year that it was done. So we've actually lost residents. But I digress. I guess people don't listen to the show and they don't understand what the numbers are. They just believe the propaganda put forward by the people they support politically. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up, it's not the population issue, but it was a comment on an article about this particular story, which involves those pods. Do you remember us talking about those portable pods that South Bend declared worthless and they had to pay some guy to haul off? Do you remember that, Joe, a few months back? Yeah, well, they paid $41,000, okay? They paid $41,000 to get rid of these portable trailers, okay? So think of them like, they're almost like a container house, but they're made out of cheap materials, right? Those are the temporary houses like that FEMA will use and things like that. So the city of South Bend spent $41,000. They paid a company, Indiana Earth Inc., okay? They're based in Osceola. They paid them the money to remove these portable pods and get rid of them. South Bend didn't have a use for them. They had basically been declared worthless. They didn't have space, and they said, we got to get rid of these things. So they paid somebody $41,000 to get rid of them. Well, that individual apparently took the $41,000, took the pods, and then sold the pods. Because now they're on Craigslist. They are listed for sale by somebody. So naturally, everybody is a little butthurt about all of this. I'll just give you a little bit of it. 6 modular buildings that Ivy Tech Community College had donated to the city of South Bend for use as a new homeless gateway center and later deemed to have zero market value by the city after the project fizzled, have apparently turned up for sale on Craigslist. Now, if you actually lived in one of these things, the city would have said they were worth $150,000 and you owed them $150,000 worth of property taxes. But the city had them, and so the city deemed them to be a $0 value. So the city in October contracted with Osceola-based Indiana Earth Inc. to dispose of the pods formerly used as portable classrooms by Ivy Tech, paying the company $41,000 to haul them away. Indiana Earth had them towed away for a vacant city-owned lot, and they had sat there since the school's donation. Okay, Craigslist ad is now seeking to sell the pods for $8,500 each, or you can rent them for $800 a month. By the way, it's too much money. Okay, they're not worth $8,500, and $800 in rent just goes to show you there is a slumlord problem in Mishawaka. Okay, keep telling you that. Good condition, very nice inside, the ad states, used as classrooms but can be repurposed to fit your needs. And again, if you spend 30 seconds shopping for commercial real estate for an office or someplace around here, you will find a much better option than $800 a month. For less than $800 a month, it'll be a much better option. So anyway, the ad was placed by Timothy Simpsons, president of Elkhart-based Superior One Transit, which apparently had closed its doors, according to Google. When called on Friday by the paper, Simpson said that he did not know what school had used the pods. When asked how he came to be in possession of the pods, he says, "I'd rather not say right now, I guess. Maybe I should talk to the person that I got them from." Now, the ad then states that its photos were taken during the removal process, and a building that is adjacent to the Michigan Street lot can be seen in the background. None of that's really relevant. Indiana Earth Inc. did not return calls for comment. The City Board of Public Works passed a resolution back in October declaring the pods at zero market value. 2 months after then, Mayor Pete Buttigieg announced the administration was scrapping the Gateway Center plan, partly because it couldn't find a site that wasn't vehemently opposed to by neighbors. So I guess my real question is here, do you think that Indiana Earth did anything wrong? 574-25-95-95-3. Or are they A-okay in selling these things to somebody? Now, the city of South Bend paid them $41,000 to get them off of their property, get them out of there. And so they paid them $41,000. They took the pods away, 6 pods, and now they have sold them to somebody else, who in turn is going to the free market and trying to sell them again. Did Indiana Earth do anything wrong? Or is the city of South Bend just inept here? Maybe a little bit of both. 574-25-95-95-3. We'll take your phone calls coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Hey, I'm really hungry. I know let's go to the front table. It's really good.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5-day forecast.
Plenty of sunshine today.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
What's up, Tracy? How you doing?
All right. Can I get your first name, please? All right. I'll try to get you on there. Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Are you calling about Indiana Earth and their pods? All right. Can I get your first name, please? All right. I'll try to get you on there.
Yeah, they removed them as contracted to do.
I mean,
They paid them to get them out of there, and they got them out of there.
they did what they were supposed to do. You want them to do. Not doing anything.
Bill O'Reilly. The best news talk lineup in Michiana is even better. Bill O'Reilly here with the O'Reilly Update. It's part of the drive home with Casey Hendrickson. Weekday afternoons, 5:50 on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Are you calling about Indiana Earth and the pods? All right. First name, please.
Behind the scenes of any office or industrial build are numerous contractors.
All right. I'll try to get you on there, Chris.
From drawing board to reality with precision, on schedule, and on budget. From the very first step to the final phase. You need the trusted experience of a team who knows how to get the job done. Final Phase Electric has the tools and the experience to make your dreams a reality, and can step in at any time to assess your project with a level of unmatched precision that throws guesswork out the window. We believe in positive results through positive people, and we're positive that we can help you with your commercial or industrial project. One call does it all. 574-522-4444. That's 574-522-4444. Let us take the guesswork out of your project and help you sleep easy. You've got better things to do. Let us hook you up. Find Final Phase Electric on Facebook or visit finalphaseelectric.net.
Since 1952, Henry Smith Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has been proudly serving Michiana. Trust the team who can handle all your commercial and residential heating and cooling needs with the expert plumbing staff equipped with the skills needed for the most complex setups. Sometimes the fall tune-up can turn into a surprise system replacement. Let us give you a second opinion. Call today for award-winning service with the highest level of excellence and professionalism with a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Well, I hope it goes well, Tracy. Carnivore. My mom and grandma are starting the carnivore diet too. So my past 2 weeks have been awful. I did not get through the month. Bad shopping schedule has ruined me. If you don't have the food around, you eat everything. So
Project they do. There are no corners to cut. Everything is measured twice. Graver Customer Modeling works with higher-end vendors, materials, and craftsmen to complete truly custom projects. When you see your new addition in your mind and meet with the Graver team, you begin to see what custom really means. Whether you're restoring a 100-year-old farmhouse, creating your intimate living space, or taking your kitchen to the next level, make it custom and make it a family decision. Call in the Graver family and Graver Customer Modeling. Online at gravercustomermodeling.com.
We've seen enough far too long. America has been turned upside down. Red versus blue, left versus right. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. So what can we all agree on? Saving money, buying smart, looking out for our future. R&B Car Company is proud to be an American company. We buy smart, so you do save money. Look to the future. Find one that's in the book, RVCarCompany.com.
Introducing Long John Silver's $10 C-Shares. Pick up our 6-piece fish, 9-piece chicken, 15-piece shrimp, or 6 crab cakes. Each for just $10. Long John Silver's. Fish, yeah. Description is very personal.
The top local stories updated all the time on 953MNC.com. Start 95.3 Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
God, what the heck?
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. We're talking about this situation in South Bend where the city of South Bend paid $41,000 to get rid of trailers that were donated to them by Ivy Tech for the homeless. They donated 6 of the portable classrooms to them. South Bend couldn't do anything with them. They declared them to have zero value, and they paid somebody $41,000 to take them away. That somebody was Indiana Earth, Inc. That company apparently sold them to somebody else who's now selling them on Craigslist for $8,500, or you can rent them for $800. Way too much if you ask me, but the market will decide ultimately. And I'm asking you if you think that Indiana Earth did anything wrong. I'm watching some people are upset at Indiana Earth. Oh, you've defrauded the city. And I'm just sitting here going, well, why didn't the city try to sell them? I mean, you paid the guy $41,000 to remove them. He did. And now he sold them. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong to me, but I could be wrong, I guess. Larry, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hi there.
Casey, I really think that it was more the city's fault for taking things that was donated to them from someone,
Yep.
and they paid someone to get rid of their trash, supposedly, but they didn't realize the value. So, like, one man's riches is another man's, or one man's trash is another man's riches. And I think that the business did the proper thing. If someone offered me $41,000 to remove it, I would have done the exact same thing as a private citizen. But I also think that our city government needs to be a little more considerate, seeing how they're supposed to be a democratically ran entity. They should have thought about how would it benefit the people.
I mean, they took something that was free and they lost 41 grand on it.
Right. That's crazy.
It was free.
And we paid for it. And I think that our government, our mayor, should have not allowed anything like that to happen. And I think, therefore, that's lack of honoring and respecting their duties to us as citizens. They should have took care of our money, and they did not. They failed tremendously.
I hear you. All right, appreciate it, Larry. Thank you so much. Again, get $41,000 loss off of something that was donated for free. Ben, welcome to the program. Hello, Ben.
Hey, how you doing, Casey?
I'm doing well, man. What's up?
Hey, real quick here. I'll be real fast. It's not this guy from Indiana Earth. It's not his fault the city's stupid, you know. And the city could have easily paid, heck, any farmer anywhere in the county way less than $41,000 to haul that away. That's just a ridiculous price, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say.
Well, yeah, it's 6 trailers, $41,000. Yeah. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Yep, take care. Chris, welcome to the program.
Hi, Casey. Hey,
Hi there.
great job.
Thank you.
Look, I own a business. The reality is he did exactly what any other business owner would do. He was paid to do a job. He disposed of them, and how he disposed of them is his discretion. I mean, we're not talking about a prototype car that GM would want destroyed, unless there was a contract that said you had to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he took it, he sold it. I own a business. I do the same thing. I take stuff on trade for churches and schools and nonprofits, and I either use it, resell it, or resell it to somebody else, and it's totally legit. So it is not on Indiana Earth at all.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Yep.
Take care. Okay, Sandy, really quick, final word.
Donations usually come with a tax write-off. How much did Ivy Tech write off? How much did Indiana give them for their write-off?
Yeah, I don't know.
Everything has value. Well, this thing has title, too, doesn't it? Don't you have to pay for titles and taxes? Would there be a salvage title, a good title?
I don't know with a portable. I have no idea how a portable works. No clue.
All that government stuff, that's what the government's in business to make money for themselves. Isn't that what they're doing? It doesn't seem shady on the government, not the Indiana dirt people or whoever they are, Earth. They didn't do anything wrong.
There's something weird with the way that the government handled it. Could just be ineptness, could be something a little bit more nefarious. Who knows? All right, Sandy, appreciate it. Thank you much.
Thank you, bye.
All right, take care. But so people on the live stream are like, you need to send this to the Trump campaign. It'll be interesting to see because this happened under Pete's watch. All right, we got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
WTRC FM.
And HD1 and HD3.
Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
You got through 4 callers in 2 minutes. Well, I actually had people who wanted to say what their piece was and get off. How about that?
Impressive, Casey.
Well, see, they actually had 7 of the trailers. They donated one of them to a church. So, I mean, they could have donated the other ones, too, but they just chose not to. So, with the stomach issues, Tracy, definitely try the carnivore diet. I mean, that's gonna be able to help nail it down. So, with his stomach issues, that should really, really help. Oh, City Council actually took interest in it. Awesome. Yeah, let me know how it goes. Take care, Tracy.
Xbox basically buries Google Stadia with latest Project xCloud. Today, a slew of Project xCloud editions threaten to rip Stadia of its, well, reason to exist. Wow. Oh, that's great. I love it. Halo, Master Chief, Destiny 2, Civ 6, Batman Telltale, both games, Wolf Among Us, Wasteland 2, Surge, Super Hot, Dual Knights, Kingdom, Two Crowns, Train Sim 19. All can be played on the go now. Thanks to xCloud. Stadia.
Okay. Just because there's confusion here. South Bend's population in 2017 is 102,245. South Bend's population in 2018 was 101,860. So between 2017 and 2018, South Bend lost people. We don't know what the 2019 numbers are. We don't know.
Says a good way to make sure you don't get scammed is to just go to their website directly. If you have any questions, Caleb Hatch, NNC News. Your home comfort experts, heating specialists, Cruz morning forecast.
Clearing skies along the Louisiana mostly sunny conditions. The temperature topping out at 32 degrees. For tonight, the clear skies will see a low of 20 degrees. And then for Wednesday, the low to 37 with most of it is going to active and not increase as we get toward the evening. In the evening, the 7 first will be the Hendrickson and the Ross.
When your hands are full, your ears are open. My frequency on Alexa. And one of the Google Home Smart Speaker. The Cruz 95.3 Michiana News Chief. Your breaking news and weather station.
The game Christmas, been here all my life. I think it's just in my blood. My grandpa was a gamer. My great-great-grandfather, when he came across the ocean, listed himself as a gamer. And then my dad, he's been a gamer for a lot of his life. And now I'm a gamer. I love to game. I really do. People are not a big fan of having their house work for a long period of time. That's why I think we come in and we have a larger pool. So our bedroom or our great room is not taking us 3 days. We may be in and out in one day because we have that larger pool. We have that ability to get in and out. People don't, like I said, want to store up for a long period of time. It is all about cleaning too. I mean, you know, a lot of people in the spring and in the fall, people we pay great rooms and that room back and just spruce that a little bit. 574-633-0171 or CrispyCustomPainting.com. If I put my name on the job, I want it to be a good product. It should last. I'm Nick Soboleski, a select quote agent with a true story that can save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what you pay. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-597-0315. That's 800-597-0315. 800-597-0315. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical This is Casey Hendrickson on Nissan 2023.
I guess I just have to do the weird light today.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Do want to thank our sponsor, R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. And again, if you go to rbcarcompany.com, you can take a look at all of their specials and their promotional offers. If you do go to the dealership, please, by all means, go ahead and mention that you heard about them on this show. So a couple of people sent me some text messages saying that they didn't think that the company did anything wrong. And most of the people on the live stream felt that the company didn't do anything wrong with these portable trailers that South Bend declared lost, were valued at $0, that sort of thing. And they basically spent $41,000 to have a company haul them off. That company did. Company sold them, and now there's another person trying to sell them. You know, that's capitalism. That's wheeling and dealing. It's that simple. So right now, you know, that's it is what it is. The city screwed up. The city screwed up, lost taxpayer dollars as a result, or perhaps there's something more nefarious going on. For right now, I'm just going to operate that under Pete Buttigieg's leadership. The city lost $41,000 on something that was free. And the people that they lost the $41,000 to are now making a profit. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know that you need a better illustration of how bad the leadership has been in the city of South Bend. I also wanted to address this other little situation here because I think that this is getting lost in translation. I've gone over South Bend's population numbers before, but because I made a reference to it in the last segment, because people who say that South Bend is doing great, what they do, first of all, is they give, and by the way, it's doing better. Nobody's saying that it's not doing better. All right, the situation that we start having issues with debates and things like that is South Bend doing good or doing great or anything like that? And I would argue that the evidence is against that, but it is certainly doing better than it did a decade ago. Now, here's the reasons for that, though. You've got Trump's economy, and Trump's economy has made literally everywhere else in the country better. Okay, South Bend has benefited from that. You also have a big economic boom in some of the areas surrounding South Bend, which are going to affect South Bend. You know, those people who are moving into Elkhart, who are doing well in Elkhart, they're going to spend money in South Bend. That's going to help. So surrounding areas that have had economic booms as well also continue to help the city. The city's investment fund that we talked about. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the name. I always forget the name for periods of time. The one that was Governor Pence's idea. That's what drew the investment into South Bend. Now, Mayor Pete gets credit for going along with it, but that was entirely a Governor Mike Pence program. That's where it came from. And South Bend benefited from it, and I think Pete does get credit for going along with the program, but you can't just solely give him credit for that. You have to acknowledge the people responsible for it. What I frequently see is I see people saying, well, he'd be so much better than what we have in Washington, D.C. right now because the people in Washington, D.C. don't know what they're doing. Well, one of the guys that's sitting in Washington, D.C. is our former governor who is responsible for the vast majority of the economic success of the city of South Bend under Pete Buttigieg's tutelage, okay? Now, they also say our population is growing. No, it isn't. Since 2010, the population of South Bend has grown what percentage? Since 2010, Joe, any idea? Want to guess? Since 2010, what percentage growth has the city of South Bend had from 2010 to 2018? We don't have the 2019 numbers yet. 2%. Okay, which would be modest, somewhat lackluster. I'm not even going to go into the birth rate stuff. I did that before. I'm going to ignore the birth rate, okay? No, since 2010, South Bend's population, because it's roaring back, is 0.8%. It's a statistical error. Keep in mind, plus or minus 2 to 3, generally your margin of error. So the city of South Bend has grown less than 1% since 2010. From 2017 to 2018, South Bend lost residents. It didn't gain anybody. It lost them. Okay? In 2017, the population for South Bend, Indiana was 102,245. According to the Census Bureau, the population the next year was 101,860. So it went from 102,245 to 101,860. And I keep telling people this. And the only reason it's relevant is because they're always saying, well, the population is growing. And that means people are moving back to the city, and it's thriving, and it's growing. It's not. Okay? It isn't. Now, that doesn't mean the South Bend is a bad place. It doesn't mean it doesn't have potential. It doesn't mean that there isn't great opportunity in the city. It just means that narrative that it's roaring back because the population is growing and people are moving there is not true. The Common Council, for crying out loud, had to write tax incentives to get several of the bigger employers in the city to not leave. They just did this. Remember? Basically, the city of South Bend said, please don't pack up and leave. We'll give you a bunch of tax incentives to stay. One of them was from a former candidate who ran against Jackie Walorski. His company was going to pack up and leave. And they begged him to stay, and they gave him tax incentives to keep the company here in South Bend. They're going to leave. Now, again, all right, that doesn't mean that there isn't potential. And I don't know what the 2019 numbers are. They haven't been released yet. For all I know, 2019, the population has gone back up, all right? But what I can tell you is, since 2010, it's only increased by 0.8%. I haven't adjusted for birth rate. And in the years of 2017 to 2018, which are the last years we have data, South Bend lost population. It didn't gain anybody. But they're running around saying that it gained. Why? Well, because somebody's running for president and saying that. And then somebody who was running for mayor said the same thing. But it's not growing. South Bend isn't growing. And the growth that South Bend has had since 2010 is basically stagnation. Now, you've stopped the bleeding, okay? You've stopped the bleeding, and you're not losing people anymore, but you're not growing either. That's not real growth. Less than 1% is not growth, all right? And the fact that we have lost population since 2017, and again, we don't have 2019's numbers. If 2019 comes out and we find out that the population has gone up, I'll tell you. If we find out it's gone down, I'll tell you too. So we just don't have those numbers yet, all right? And obviously we're coming into the census, and we'll have, more concrete data and everything else. But, it's important that people see this stuff. I'll put it on the Facebook page here during the commercial break because I talk about it. I've talked about it several times, and I still run into it on a regular basis. One of the main arguments that South Bend is growing is that, the population is increasing, but it's not increasing. It's actually not. And if a city is not doing well, the population won't increase. If a city is doing well, then, population will start going up by more than 1%. And it's, when we're dealing with a basically 0.75% growth in 8 years, that's not great. That's basically stagnant. All right. So this notion of I've said this before, it's, obviously Pete Buttigieg is running around and he's making it seem like this is South Bend, to steal a phrase, is the shining city on a hill now. It's roaring back. It is the 24th and a half century city, and everything is high tech. We all have hoverboards. We all have bidets with warm water in them, and that's just not the case in the city of South Bend. It's just not. Anyway, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. That is 2595-953. People are also, once again, texting me about Jeff Ray. Yeah, I get it. But here's the thing. Ray is doing the dutiful soldier thing. Yes, Ray is responsible for a lot of what has happened economically in South Bend. But he gives credit to Pete Buttigieg. So, you can't just take away what Ray is saying because, again, these are things that would not have happened out of the mind of Pete Buttigieg, but he does have to get credit for going along with what these other people are doing, and that includes the former governor, Mike Pence, who is predominantly the one responsible for the downtown investment that happened in South Bend. So again, I agree. And I think that what Ray is going to do with Niles is going to be amazing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years, but I keep seeing these comments about, the population is growing. It's not growing, though. That's the thing. It never was growing. It was growing a little bit, but now it's in decline again. And it is important that people understand that, especially since it's such a big narrative right now because of the presidential campaign. We've got more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Get breaking news text alerts direct to your smartphone. Details at 95.3 MMC.
Okay, I will pass that on to him and see how it sure. Yep.
Your breaking news and weather station.
We wanted to know what you thought of the tourists who come in and see like Notre Dame and the stuff that Notre Dame has basically done, and equated it to Pete and the success that Notre Dame got.
Oh, I'm sure that a lot of people do, because in most places a college doesn't control an entire area the way that Notre Dame does. You know, so all of that investment that Notre Dame has done privately around that area, and I would say that that's fair.
And then as we get towards the evening, that's when we'll start to see that wintry mix begin to move on in. A mix of rain and snow.
I would say that that is fair to criticize. You know, something else to kind of factor in economically too is, you know, Notre Dame has had some pretty good runs lately, and even if you're not a Notre Dame fan, you know, they've had several title runs during Pete's administration. That's all economic injection into the economy here. You know, people are coming to watch the games. They want to see the games. They want to be a part of it, especially with that undefeated season that they had. So yeah, there's, you know, those things are going to be big factors too that you have to at least consider.
ESIG works.
I had on that gorgeous dress from Judy's. Oh, he's so cute and funny. But that's the problem. It's a problem that he's cute and funny? No. He loved my outfit for the New Year's party. And now what? If things work out, Valentine's is in less than 3 weeks. What am I ever going to wear? Wait. So you're not responding to this guy because you don't know what to wear after the New Year's dress? Yeah. Just go to Judy's. You know, they have everything from formal wear to women's daily wear with the latest.
Take $145 of your tax refund and buy a passport for Jordan. Okay, I have the passport, but you think I can afford international tickets?
Color and style analysis. They never let you leave the store with anything that doesn't look just right on you.
What am I supposed to do with the passport?
Check out all that Judy's has to offer. Good idea. I hear they have great items on the winter clearance sale.
You think I can afford to buy international tickets and then afford to take said time off to use said international tickets?
Know and trust. And buying a car from a vending machine is cool, but what happens when you want to test drive that car first? And what happens if you have a question? What is the expert to answer? The solution is Lock Money Fastlane online purchase experience from the Lock Money Auto Group. Lock Money Fastlane takes you from shopping and driving 100% online and at your convenience. You know over 700 million new vehicles can apply for financing and instant approval. See your loan terms and your payment. Trade your current vehicle and secure your deposit. Then simply schedule time for the vehicle to be delivered to your home or office. Wait, still want to test drive the car first? No problem. Schedule a test drive at any time. You're happy to help in person at any point. The Lock Money Fastlane online purchase experience is only at LockMoney.com. Shop new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, GMC, Buick, Chevy, and Ford models, plus all makes and models of pre-owned vehicles for every budget. Over 700 vehicles. Get the Fastlane to your next vehicle at LockMoney.com. Lock Money Auto Group, a tradition of caring since 1954.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents, which means you're going to start telling your kids to clean up before the cleaning lady comes. Doesn't make sense, but you're the parents and they're the kids. You're going to start telling them that now, too. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto.
First world problems, cleaning up before the cleaning person gets there so they don't think you are a pig.
Pays the bills around here. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates of other insurers is to not in high-stakes situations.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this magic music, which will inspire the perfect hire to begin clog dancing.
I wish I could figure out what the hell was happening with the lighting.
There's no magic music, but skills tests. That's a for sure. See why independent research by Silver.
Is it just the sun's out, or is it just hitting the friggin' snow right, or what?
Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free.
Like, I am silhouetted like a mug in here. And I've got the creepy Halloween light thing happening. They took my studio lights out because they don't do that traffic hit on TV anymore, so they took those lights out. So I've just got this little dollar store dealio here.
So you do see look to the future. Find your next vehicle at RVCarCompany.com.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. Got to tell you about all natural CBD. And look, the website is allnaturalcbd.org. I know that a lot of you don't hear me say that enough, and you send me those messages and make the request for the website. I'm happy to oblige, by the way. Now, sometimes I'm not going to see those messages, though. So try and write it down if you can, allnaturalcbd.org. And you go there and you can pick up the natural CBD lotion, which is the product that I have been endorsing now for several months. It's a phenomenal product, works for pain management. If you have minor aches and pains and you don't want to pop pills, this is a perfect solution for you. So go to allnaturalcbd.org, check out the lotion. It comes in 250 or 500 milligram. You can get it in either lavender. Now, that's a natural lavender, not that artificial lavender flavor that you get in a lot of cheap soaps. I hate that stuff. But this is the natural lavender. So it smells very nice, like a lavender field. If you don't want any scent, you can get the unscented. I recommend the 500 milligrams. It's you don't need to worry about potency or anything like that because we're just talking about CBD. This is a veteran-owned company. This is grown, tested, made right here in the United States of America. And the best part is for the 500 milligram, 4-ounce bottle, it's only $19.99. It is literally a fraction of the cost of its nearest competitor, and it is way more potent than the nearest competitor, which means if you are sore, whether that is from arthritis, fibromyalgia, muscle pain, maybe an injury, if you're sore, you're going to get better pain relief from this lotion, and you're going to have that bottle for longer than the competition. You're going to be able to use it a lot more. And you get a discount just by using my promo code KC10. That's CASEY and the number 10. Promo code KC10. Save yourself 10% at allnaturalcbd.org. All right. So many things. We heard this on the news earlier. The story's at 95.3 MNC.com. Pro Second Amendment group advocates for Berrien County to become a sanctuary. An organization in Michigan is looking to designate Berrien County as a Second Amendment sanctuary. The aptly named Michigan for 2A Sanctuary Counties presented a resolution directly to the county commissioners earlier this week. Officials with the organization are saying that they are fed up with the push for new gun laws. Of course, we had this massive peaceful rally that just happened in Virginia, where the governor is trying to say that they saved the day on this whole thing. Okay. Per a statement from the group, their proposal appears to have at least some support, as the council is talking to the prosecutor and the sheriff before they make a decision. The sheriff's opinion on these things is going to be very important. Let's see. We are at a point where enough is enough, said the resolution coordinator, Randy Bishop. We are not tolerating anymore. He also says that he is fed up with the push for new gun laws, hoping to make Berrien County a sanctuary for guns and gun owners. We see to know that we can do what we want to do, and we won't be prosecuted by the prosecuting attorney, and we will not be arrested by our county sheriff, he said. The movement actually started after communities in Virginia created sanctuaries against lawmakers who are eyeing gun reform. And it said, I think it was over 90% of Virginia have actually signed on to that. Bishop says that Michigan lawmakers have proposed similar gun bills, such as red flag laws. Yes. And by the way, I've got a red flag story here that is, let me pull this up in the show prep. I had it like last week, and somebody had filed a false red flag against a police officer. And yeah, here we go. I got it. So we'll do that after we're done with this. So anyway, Michigan lawmakers have proposed similar gun bills like in Virginia, such as red flag laws where people could have their guns taken away if they are deemed mentally unstable and a risk. Now, of course, that all happens before they actually commit a crime, and there's actually no process to deem them mentally unstable. This is an initial preemptive move. Bishop also says that he's also against many laws already on the books, like background checks and gun registration. I don't know what the context of all of that is, so it'll be interesting to see what they say about background checks, because local news, I don't know if they're distorting that there. But not everybody agrees. Berrien County Democratic Party Chairman Amy Screama says that the party supports an individual's right to bear arms. Sure. Berrien County Democratic Party supports an individual's right to bear arms, and we also support common sense legislation to keep people safe from gun violence, which, of course, means that they don't have a position on this other than banning firearms. So This is interesting. A bunch of listeners who saw this were pretty excited about it. They say that they are going to assist other counties in Michigan in drafting similar ordinances to put up for a vote. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening in the state of Michigan with this. And this story that I have is from Colorado, where a mother in Colorado filed a fraudulent red flag gun law petition against a cop who fatally shot her son. And remember, red flag laws can be abused with great regularity. That's the problem with them. A fifth extreme risk protection order petition filed under Colorado's new red flag gun law contains false information in an attempt to have a police officer's weapon confiscated, and a judge is still going to hear the case, according to KUSA-TV. So the petition was filed by a Susan Holmes. She's the mother of a 19-year-old named Jeremy, who was shot and killed by Colorado State University police after July 2017 when he charged at the officers with a knife, which is, of course, a justifiable reason to use lethal force. Colorado's law allows for family members, household members, or law enforcement officers to file extreme risk protection orders against somebody. Holmes's petition falsely claims that she and the officer, Corporal Philip Morris, share a child together. KUSA also reported that the two have no such relation, and in a petition, Holmes calls Morris a credible threat to commit unlawful or reckless use of a firearm. Used his firearm to recklessly and violently threaten and kill 19-year-old Jeremy Holmes. This is all in the petition. Again, the courts are still going to hear the case. The officer's going to win, but the point is the officer now has to deal with it. The officer shouldn't have to deal with it. That's the problem with these red flag laws, is that none of this should even be an issue. So again, they're feel good, and there's certainly an issue with restraining orders and protecting especially women from somebody who is harassing them and maybe a danger to them. There's some kind of a go-between that has to be figured out. A red flag law, which, as they have been implemented, have consistently found fraudulent claims against people where those people lose their firearms. Again, there's no due process to lose the firearms. They lose their firearms, and they have to go to the court process in order to prove that they are not a threat. And then sometimes, you get them back, and sometimes you don't get them back. And that's the real issue here. So this woman has filed a fraudulent one in Colorado. I know it's an extreme case, but the reason I wanted to highlight it was to show you that it can even happen to a cop. A cop who, in the line of duty, had to use their weapon because somebody was threatening them with a knife. And as long as you're in a situation where this can be abused, these stories are going to continue to come up. And maybe at the end of the day, some people will believe that those risks are far better than the alternative. There will be those who disagree with that, and then the debate will continue to rage on. But the situation in Berrien County, they've got a Facebook page and everything else. They said that they want to be a statewide effort that will organize each county in Michigan to submit a resolution to force our elected officials to acknowledge our Second Amendment rights. And the page has more than 85,000 members. Just like that. I have like 8,000 members. They just started. Anyway, so we'll link to the story, obviously, in the Daily Show prep for anybody. And might actually try and get them on. It might be interesting to go ahead and talk with them. I'm really curious about this line where they say that he opposes background checks. I don't know if he does. I mean, I wouldn't have an issue if he did. But I'm kind of interested to see if that was a distortion or not. Anyway, we got more coming up. You're listening to News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Shipface is still talking.
Rejected a motion from the university to dismiss the case. The lawsuit names Notre Dame along with several federal agencies for their role in a deal that gave Notre Dame an exemption for the contraceptive mandate of the Affordable Care Act. With the exemption, the university changed its policy to cover only what they call simple contraceptives and requires those on the school's health plan to pay out of pocket. A release from one of the plaintiffs, Irish for Reproductive Health, says nobody should have to choose between what is right for their body and life and what they can afford. The South Bend Review reports there is a pretrial hearing scheduled for March. Brian Davis, MNC News. An organization in Michigan is looking to designate Berrien County as a Second Amendment
2A sanctuary counties presented a resolution directly to county commissioners earlier this week. Officials with the organization tell WSBT they're fed up with the push for new gun laws. Per a statement from the group, their proposal appears to have at least some support.
Yeah, exactly, Alex. They won't be abused. What are you talking about?
The group's Facebook page describes themselves in part as a statewide effort that will organize each county in Michigan to submit a resolution to force our elected officials to acknowledge our Second Amendment rights. The page has more than 85,000 members. Derek Wright, MNC News.
This is the Fox News Alert. I'm Rich Dennison. White House attorneys and lawmakers representing the House are debating how to move forward with the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump. White House counsel Pat Cipollone said Democrats have no case and are politically motivated. They're not here to steal one election. They're here to steal two elections. House Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff rejecting the president's claim that witnesses should not testify because it could impact national security.
Never mind that it was the president's actions in withholding military aid from an ally at war that threatened our national security in the first place.
The president was impeached by the House for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Stocks closing lower today with Boeing stock falling as news the first case of coronavirus was confirmed in the U.S. The Dow down 152 points.
All right.
Lower with the Nasdaq falling 18. America is listening to Fox News.
Surprise table kids. Hey, I'm really hungry. I know let's go to the front table. It's really good.
Yeah, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, first warning forecast.
Oh, by the way, that NBC reporter had to delete that tweet that the rally in Virginia was a white nationalist rally.
In the ABC 7 first morning in the Center, I'm Edison Road.
Is protected by ZX Gun, your single source for personal protection. Visit them on 3rd Street in Goshen and check out their full line of quality handguns, shotguns, rifles, accessories, and more. What if this was a loved one?
911. Someone's trying to break into my home. They're right at the front door. We'll notify the authorities. I'll stay on the line with you until they arrive.
What could that do?
ZX Gun is your single source for personal protection. Stopping today for the largest selection of handguns, AR rifles, ammunition, accessories, and personal protection solutions. Over 2,000 guns in stock today with the best prices, guaranteed. ZX Gun, located in downtown Goshen at the corner of the best street in Sabres. Visit them online at cxgun.com. Protect yourself and loved ones today at ZX Gun.
Chances are you can remember your best decisions. Buying that car, having a child, getting away from the rat race, if only for a little while. Now you can add another decision to that list. Moving to a Trilogy Senior Living Community. When you make the move to a Trilogy Senior Living Community, you'll feel good about your decision. We guarantee it. Visit trilogyhs.com to find a community near you.
Business Report, powered by home comfort experts, plumbing, heating, and cooling. Keep your hard-working furnace running smooth with the tune-up today. Call 255-4600.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and this is the Fox Business Report. On Wall Street, the major averages closing in the red on coronavirus concerns and Boeing troubles. Shares of casino and hotel companies, Wynn Resorts, and Las Vegas Sands falling amid fears that the outbreak in China would put a dent in international travel. Among the Dow gainers today, Home Depot, Intel, and Visa. The Dow decliners, Boeing, Goldman Sachs, and Chevron. The Dow ending a 5-session winning streak, closing down 152 points. The Nasdaq down 18, S&P 500 down 9. Shares of Boeing dropping over 3%. After the aerospace giant said it does not expect to win.
What the heck? Sorry, guys. I just don't know what the heck's going on with the lighting. It is not pleasant today. Sorry.
At Capital One, you can open a new savings account in about 5 minutes and earn 5 times the national average. Banking with Capital One means 5 times the savings to help pay for your perfect honeymoon. Or 5 times the savings toward your family's perfect vacation.
Big fan of water rides.
It's time to help make your savings goals come true. This is Banking Reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Senate right now is voting on whether to table Schumer's amendment on impeachment.
Chances are
Okay.
use an update. Maybe a new chair or desk or a filing cabinet to get the clutter off your desk. Perhaps you just need to start over. At the Office Barn, you can make it happen with Laurel. You can replace a few items, or the Office Barn can come to your workplace and help you plan a whole new layout. The Office Barn may even take away your old desk so you don't have to. Go to the website at theofficebarn.com to see the vast selection of office furniture and various brands like Laurel. You can also visit the 30,000 square foot showroom to see all the options in person. There you'll find a large, dedicated space of Laurel products, as well as other new, scratch and dent and used furniture. It is said that new office furniture can increase productivity by as much as 20%. Imagine that. For an updated, more comfortable and productive workspace, call or visit the Office Barn and see the Laurel Diamond Dealer showroom. Visit the website at theofficebarn.com for store hours. The Office Barn in Goshen, Indiana. Your
Will Chamberlain?
Laurel Diamond Dealer, where if we don't have it, you don't need it.
Yeah, the lighting is awful today.
You know, one of the things that we see people that are really concerned with is whether they can actually afford it.
Sorry. I went to Southwest Vision Center today and got my night driving glasses with my prescription in. That stigmatism has been causing a glare with the lights, especially with the asshats who use their brights on the stretch of road that I go on. So I used to drive home and it was well-lit road. I'm driving home now on dark roads, so I get big glare, can't really see things until it gets kind of close. So I got my prescription done with nighttime driving lenses, which are like yellow. And today will be the first time that I get to use it at night, but during the day, holy smokes. Big time differences in contrast. You just see things a lot easier. And then I posted about it, took a picture, just a dumb little selfie with the glasses on, which somebody immediately picked up on John Goodman's character with those yellow glasses. And then somebody was like, I keep mentioning that I can't see at night when I go to my optometrist, and they've never mentioned these lenses. What the hell? I'm like, Southwest Vision Center, there you go.
It's Casey Hendrickson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. I'm basically being a ghost today on the live stream. The lighting from outside is like extra bright today, and then with the ice and snow on the ground, like the lighting coming into the building here is like super bright, which means I'm silhouetted again on my live stream. So I have this tiny little dollar store square light, and if I turn it off, I just disappear. If I turn it on, it looks like it's Halloween and I'm trying to scare people around a campfire. That's what it looks like. But I'm doing my best, all right? So if you want to watch the live stream, go to youtube.com/CaseyTheHost or twitch.tv/CaseyTheHost. Do want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw, rbcarcompany.com for today's specials and promotions. Okay, so China has now confirmed that there are 100 and... Why did it disappear from the title? I hate it when they have rotating titles on these things. It's now more than 200 cases of this new virus that they have that comes from Wuhan. Now, these 200 cases of this new virus, which of course we're all watching, and the reason they're scared about this is it's brand new. And because it's brand new, they don't know what it's going to do yet. But now, I told you, last week that U.S. airlines now are starting to screen for the virus if you are coming from the Wuhan region in China. Well, now they're going to have to start screening when you come from China at all, because it is now in Beijing, it is in Shanghai, it's in Shenzhen, it is all over. 3 people have died. Japan, Thailand, South Korea have all got reported cases of the coronavirus. And the United States now has its first confirmed case, according to the CDC today. So this is now spreading. More and more airports are now starting to do the screening for it. But we're at a point now where it went from, we're going to screen you if you have visited or been connected to the Wuhan region in China. Now, again, Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Japan, Thailand, South Korea, all of those places are now a part of this. So pretty much these airports now are doing everything they can to go and screen this out. What do we have here? Respiratory expert Zhong Nanshan, who heads the Health Commission team investigating the virus, said that 14 medical workers had caught it while treating patients. The sharp rise comes as millions of Chinese prepare to travel for the Lunar New Year holidays. Although the outbreak is believed to have originated from a market, officials and scientists are yet to determine exactly how it has been spreading. So we have no idea how this thing is even spreading. And of course, everybody's talking about SARS now. That SARS, I guess, is the closest reference that we have to all of this. So now let's go to the CDC. According to Epoch Times, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention announced the first U.S. case of the mysterious coronavirus that has already killed at least 6 people and sickened hundreds more in China. A traveler from China was diagnosed in Seattle with the Wuhan coronavirus, according to the CDC. They confirmed all of this to Reuters earlier today. The New York Times, CNN also reporting on it. The health agency will offer more details about the case later today. The World Health Organization is expected tomorrow to hold a meeting with a panel of medical experts to determine if the Wuhan virus outbreak should trigger a global health emergency. The virus has been reported in around 5 countries so far. Now, hundreds of people have caught this thing. There's 6 deaths, okay? So, while bad that 6 people have died, the good news up to this point is that, you know, we don't have a very high, what is it? Keep wanting to say it's more, whatever. It's, you know, lethal rate. I keep wanting to say morbidity, but that's not right. So I'm having a day today. I apologize. So they're going to get together and take a look at it. So while it is spreading and it is dangerous, and we don't know which populations are going to be more susceptible to it than other populations, and we're not exactly sure how it's going to, you know, be handled. At least not everybody who's getting it is dying. You know, in the disease world, they have also started implementing the vaccine for Ebola. So there's a win here as well. So the Ebola vaccine they started to administer it, I think, a few weeks ago to the general population, and we're still waiting to hear back on that. But the test trials on the Ebola vaccine were very, very, very good. So hopefully we will be closing the door on Ebola being a major threat, but we now have this new virus. And it always seems to be that way. Every time we close the door, there's like a new thing that comes up. But we also know that the World Health Organization gets out of hand. We know that the CDC sometimes gets out of hand. And they do this out of an abundance of caution most of the time. One time, the World Health Organization did admit it was about selling vaccines, and they admitted that they oversold it for those reasons. But when we're dealing with this, we don't know a lot about it. It's brand new. It is infecting a lot of people. They don't even know how the thing spreads. It's now in multiple countries, including the United States, and that obviously has people concerned, as it should. But right now we are dealing with a couple of hundred people, and hopefully it won't get out of control. But again, they're likening this to the SARS outbreak several years ago. That seems to be the closest sort of a similar event that they can tie this to based on the virus. All right, we got more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5-day forecasts.
Plenty of sunshine today. Temperatures warming up to 32 degrees. For tonight, we drop down near 20 underneath clear skies. For Wednesday, we see sunshine to start out today, but clouds increase as we head towards the evening, with temperatures warming up to 37 degrees. Even make it to 40 for Thursday. Could see a chance for some drizzle for the first half of the day. We'll definitely hold on to more cloud cover. And then as we get towards the evening, that's when we'll start to see that wintry mix begin to move on in. Talking mix of rain and snow for Friday, with temperatures topping out near 40 degrees. A little cooler on Saturday with a high of 38, with a chance for some light snow showers in our forecast. But thankfully, we wrap up the weekend a little quieter. From the ABC 7 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ella Kennedy.
The top news stories.
Every day that we're involved in this impeachment is a sad day for America.
Have a phone call. That's what they're based their impeachment on.
It was transparently partisan performance from beginning to end.
It's a hoax. It's a hoax. Everybody knows that. It's a complete hoax. The whole thing with Ukraine.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
Hello, I'm Dennis with H&H Gold Buyers in downtown Elkhart.
and I want to buy your old gold jewelry, your silver flatware, your silver plate, your gold and silver coins, your platinum and diamonds. You may not realize it, but gold and silver are at a 5-year high. So now is a great time to look through your dress drawers, your closets, and all those other places you've been keeping things to pass on someday to your children. Because shocking as it may seem to you, they really don't want your old gold, jewelry, or silver to wear or use. And with the money you will receive from your gold, silver, platinum, and diamonds, you can go on a cruise, take a mini vacation, or put the money in a bank to save.
The dad killed a coyote with his bare hands
Unused items to H&H Gold buyers
when it attacked his kid in New Hampshire.
any way you want. That's H&H Gold buyers at 221 North Main Street, across from McDonald's in downtown Elkhart. My name is Ed Hendrickson. I've been selling new cars a lot of new motors for over 30 years.
A suspect promoted their Instagram account during a capital murder arrest.
For 16 years. Rick and I have worked together a long time. Every year there's a lot of excitement attached. Yeah, that's right. We have so many vehicles we're running out of places to park. We have tremendous offering of new Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Dodge, Buick, and GMC models. We stock the best and most desirable of these premium brands. We have all makes and models of premium vehicles. Something for every need and every budget. There are a lot of options for what you can do with your tax return. Buying a new or premium vehicle from Lockheed Motors is the best way to make that dollar go further and get more for your money. Using that money as a down payment lowers your monthly payment. You could be driving something newer or better than you are right now for a lower payment. Lockheed Motors values honesty and integrity are evident to customers and employees alike. That's why so many of us have been here for so long. We have customers who come back over and over with all their vehicle needs.
I did see it. We're going to talk about it here at 5. Well, in the 5 o'clock hour, maybe not at 5.
Number could save you up to 30% on your energy bills. When you call today, BW Home Service experts can hook you up with seasonal maintenance. And right now, save $50 on seasonal maintenance. BW Home Service.
Well, thing attacked his kid. I guess you just do what you got to do.
Call 866 experts. Visit BWCook.com. See website for licensed details. Give your home stores a new look and get 11% off everything at Menards. Choose from a great selection of Mohawk vinyl flooring, vinyl planks.
God, this lighting is awful.
Sale prices are good through Saturday, January 25th. Savings are only limited. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Introducing Long John Silver's $10 C-Share. Pick up our 6-piece fish, 9-piece chicken, 15-piece shrimp, or 6 crab cakes. Each for just $10. Long John Silver's. Fish, yeah. Let's go. This was really good.
Your top news traffic and weather during Michiana's morning news first thing weekdays from 95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Don't forget, you can follow the live stream on YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host. You can follow me on Twitter at RealKCH and on Facebook at Casey the Host. A Republican state senator is pushing for the elimination of Indiana's primary elections for U.S. Senate and is proposing that political parties select candidates at conventions instead. Senator James Buck of Kokomo presented his proposal to a Senate committee last week. The committee did not vote on the bill. The Republican member expressed doubt about taking the decision from primary voters and giving it to fewer than 2,000 delegates at the Republican and Democratic conventions. For example, nearly 507,000 people voted in Indiana's 2018 Republican U.S. Senate primary. The major offices of governor and U.S. senator have gone before primary voters for decades. So that's an interesting proposal that James Buck from Kokomo would actually propose that. Now, in general, okay, in spirit of this thing, I guess I technically support it, just because you're not supposed to vote for senators. That's not what you're supposed to do. With the reality of how our elections work now, this could obviously be very unpopular. Let's see. Go over to Batesville Herald Tribune. Hoosiers don't directly elect party representatives for offices such as lieutenant governors, attorneys general, secretary of state. Instead, delegates choose party candidates through a convention. And Senator James Buck, Republican of Kokomo, filed a bill that would expand that to that at conventions to the Senate races. In the last few election cycles, it has alarmed me to see how much money is flowing into our different parties. That's what he told senators on the committee last week. Running for office is becoming very, very difficult for people that don't have the ability or the time because of their desire to earn a livelihood. By using delegates for party nominations, Buck said that he hoped that to take the influence of money and the media out of the process. These are all real people. They all have a real heart. We're going to have a hard time buying them off. Interesting. William Blomquist, a political science professor at IU, said that the delegates can either be elected by their precinct or in places with no viable candidates, and they can be selected by their county party, their chairperson, etc. But the delegates are typically active volunteers in their party. They're not a random sampling of the precinct. They're people who clearly have a loyalty to the party and some level of participation. There's a couple of things that you could be looking at with something like this. That you're technically not supposed to vote for Senate anyway. There's the angle that Buck is taking that you got a lot of money and everything else that comes into this thing, and then you're going to see people who go, yeah, but we like the idea of being able to vet somebody publicly. And sometimes the press uncovers something that maybe would not have been uncovered otherwise, and maybe that gives another candidate an opportunity in a primary to go ahead and make their move. So I get it. You could argue also that by having the delegates, who are basically party insiders, decide who the nominee is going to be, that the parties will always dictate who the nominee is going to be and do whatever's best for the political parties. You got this documentary right now that is coming out that has Hillary Clinton saying that nobody likes Bernie Sanders and nobody likes his supporters and everything else. I guess Bernie has responded to all of that. So we already know what happened to Bernie the last time. That was a prime example of the political party telling everybody who should be the nominee. Obviously, that's a different race than Senate, but it just kind of gives you an example where somebody could easily make that case that we don't want the party to always dictate things from the inside. Might be nice if the people have a say in it. But with that said, you don't really have a right. You do now. You originally were not supposed to have a right to vote for Senate anyway. Let's see. The convention process allows for party candidates to narrow their focus, he said. Instead of trying to convince thousands of Hoosiers to elect them in a primary, candidates can focus on convincing hundreds of delegates at a one-day convention using a more modest budget. All right. Now, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be upset if this were to happen. So essentially, instead of having a primary, so if you've got a Republican or a Democrat who's running for Senate in Indiana, you typically have a primary. You got a couple of candidates. We had several candidates last couple of times in the primaries there, and you go ahead and you let the public decide which candidate is going to be the nominee. That nominee then goes on to face the other party's candidate, etc. This would get rid of that. What it would do instead is allow either the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, via their delegates, to decide who the candidate is going to be for that party, and then we vote for them in the general election. So we don't have to worry about the primary election whatsoever. Now, there's another angle here that we have to consider, and that is, will this hurt voter participation? There are people who will participate in a primary for those big federal offices, and there may not be those people now that those federal offices are not voted on in a primary, and they're selected simply at the convention. So now you'd have a situation where, why am I going to show up to vote for, a clerk or something of that nature? I don't know. Maybe the clerk, that's a bad example, but you know what I mean. So it could lower some voter participation in primary races, but I don't know. I wouldn't be upset necessarily. I mean, the party is theoretically the ones that are supposed to pick who represents them, right? And then in the general election, the people will decide who actually gets the posting. But there's going to be people who want more say in it. Certainly understand that. One of the arguable advantages is that it allows for at least some candidate to delegate contact. And the presumption is that the delegates know more and care more than the typical registered voter. I mean, you could certainly make that case. whether we want to admit it or not, and I know that this comes up a lot, and people don't like saying it because they don't want to risk offending a potential voter. The average American voter out there doesn't really pay attention to what is happening. It's just how it is. They get little bits and pieces of it here and there. During elections, they will ramp up their consumption of it, but even then they get kind of lost in things because they haven't been paying attention to it for some time. I gave you an example of that a little bit earlier today. You got a bunch of people still running around and saying the South Bend's population is growing, and that means the city is bouncing back and everything is awesome and amazing. Only the population isn't growing. And people who know that are people who pay attention, which are very, very few. So there's a point to be made there. Both Blomquist and Buck said that the use of primaries versus conventions had changed over time. This is true. Leaning towards more primaries, Blomquist said that he wasn't aware of other states attempting to go back to a convention process. But like I said, it's how it used to be done. You know, maybe that needs to be the way that it is done now. I'm not sure. Like I said, I wouldn't be upset either way, but many of you obviously would be. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of it. Now, it doesn't mean that this thing is going to pass, okay? It's just been proposed. So very simple, because some people on my live stream seem to indicate that it's a little confusing. If we have an election for Senate, you obviously have your incumbent, okay? This time around, that would be a Republican. So the Democrats, instead of having a primary for Democratic voters to pick who the nominee should be to run against the incumbent Republican, the Democratic Party would simply select that person at their state convention. That's it. And then that person who is chosen by the party, not by the voters, but by the party, will then be the candidate to run against the incumbent Republican in office the next election. That's, if this were to play out, that's how it would work. But again, you're also dealing with people who say, well, I don't want the party insiders to have all of the say. I want to have a say too, because maybe the party insiders can't be trusted. There's certainly some trust issues between the members of a political party and party leadership nowadays, for both parties, by the way. So that's certainly an argument to have as well. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. The Schumer amendment was killed. It did not win. That would have required the White House to turn over some documents that the White House should not be required to turn over. So no big surprise there. Party line vote for the most part. And maybe the entire party. I have to look at the actual vote tally here, but I can tell you it was defeated. Project Veritas has got a new video out. Got a couple of other things to discuss as well. Don't forget you can follow us online, YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host. You can also follow me on Twitter at RealKCH and on Facebook at Casey the Host. And then, of course, you can send me emails, casey@953mnc.com. And, of course, go to 953mnc.com for your local news. Anyway, got more coming up, 953 MNC.
WTRC-FM.
And HD1 and HD3.
Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
Oy. I woke up this morning and I couldn't talk. So I've been recovering from something. Amish Acres auction's about to happen.
Not once during the House investigation did they ever say that a single document was privileged or a single witness had something privileged to say. A Republican-backed resolution offered by Majority Leader Carter with the late questions about new documents and witnesses in Alaska over the argument. Questions from senators. Will fit those decisions to the state senate. The revised resolution from the Congress will give both sides an additional balance and opening arguments.
Meantime, President Trump in and out of meetings all day in Switzerland, attending the World Economic Forum, at one point tweeting, read the transcripts, also calling impeachment a witch hunt again. But he's focusing on other issues, including trade. He's not ruling out tariffs on auto imports from Europe.
If we're unable to make a deal, we will have to do something because we've been treated very badly as a country for many, many years on trade.
Meantime, the Commerce Department says it will not turn over to Congress a report on national security risks that may be posed by imported autos and cars, arguing it could interfere with ongoing negotiations. Honda just announcing it's recalling more than 2 million vehicles in the U.S. tied to a new Takata defect. This after years of recalls.
God dang, Takata.
The new coronavirus that has sickened hundreds recently traveled to Wuhan, China. Screenings of passengers from China will expand into 5 U.S. airports. America's listening to Fox News.
This is Michigan's breaking news at 11:06. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel, and 95.3 MNC.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, federal court officials in Indiana are warning that scammers posing as court employees are calling people with cases pending before the courts, asking them for their social security number.
The U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Indiana says court officials would never contact someone and demand personal information, such as their social security number. The court is also reminding the public never to divulge personal information or financial information to unknown callers. Officials urge anyone who believes they have been a victim of the scam to report it to the District Court Clerk's office in the Federal Trade Commission. Brooklyn Beatty, MNC News.
Eau Claire has voted to table a decision on whether to allow a recreational marijuana business in their city. City leaders discussed the issue Monday and ultimately voted to wait until there can be a public hearing. Eau Claire has allowed a license for medical sales, but they're not only excluding recreational sales. As of now, there has been no announcement about that public hearing. And the former owner of IOI Pay Elkhart will have his fleet of collector's vehicles auctioned off. A judge has officially authorized
Bill Hemmer, in his debut, he replaced Shepard Smith, crushed Shepard Smith's ratings. Oh my God. Can you kill my audio, please? I just want to see if this plays well on the radio.
By having better hands guided by better values on those pulleys and levers of the American government. So can I look to you to spread that sense of hope to those that you know? Come on.
Very cringe.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialists, and morning forecast.
Clearing skies are going to lead to mostly sunny conditions, with temperatures topping out at 32 degrees. For tonight, underneath clear skies, we'll see a low of 20 degrees. And then for Wednesday,
Scientists might have accidentally cured cancer. I don't believe it when I see it.
in the ABC 7 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Linda Kennedy.
Download the 95.3 MNC app and stay connected to live audio and the day's biggest news, all in the palm of your hand. From 95.3MNC.com, your breaking news and weather station.
Oh, son of a gun. How about that? Talk about that tomorrow.
Next to your house, your vehicle is one of your biggest investments, and it's important to routinely take care of it. Get oil changes a few times a year, new wheels and suspension, and may even change out a light bulb or two. So if the inside is running great, why not make the outside look just as flawless? Parkwood Auto Spa on Edison Road in Mishawaka and Ireland Road in South Bend can make sure your ride looks pristine and gleaming. They're also home of the Buy 5, Get 3 free. For every 5 washes you buy, you'll receive 3 free. So whether you, your spouse's, or your kid's vehicle needs a wash, there's plenty to go around. Or for only $15.95 a month, you can do an unlimited amount of washes. For then, there's no reason you won't have the best looking vehicle on the road. Parkwood Auto Spa also lets you control your wash. Pull up in the bay and get it done by hand. Or drive through your automatic wash and get on your way. Get to Parkwood Auto Spa in Mishawaka and South Bend.
There's just like no good Senate at anything right now. It's all the same crap.
I'm Nick Sobolewski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you.
I'm trying to find something interesting
A
about
woman
it.
named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-597-0315. That's 800-597-0315. 800-597-0315. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Members.
Get full details on the example policy
Managers.
From the final phase electric studios. From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Do want to thank our sponsor, R&B Car Company. Again, their website is rbcarcompany.com. rbcarcompany.com. Check out the latest promotions and special offers today. All right, so we have impeachment happening right now. They've been bickering all day about rules and all of that stuff. And Adam Schiff is up to his normal things. I kept looking up at the TV, and Adam Schiff would not shut up. He just kept talking the way that Adam Schiff keeps talking. It was putting people to sleep. But he did it again. Okay? He played a deceptively edited video, and he misquoted Trump again. So here we are. We're at the big show now. This is what Democrats wanted, and Adam Schiff has to lie once again about all of this stuff to go ahead and push the narrative of impeachment. Representative Zoe Lofgren, Democrat of the People's Republic of California, used the exact same deceptively edited clip later on in her own presentation. So it is what it is, right? They're saying that they don't have enough evidence to convict him from the House trial, so they've got to have more evidence introduced on the Senate side of things. And the Senate's, that's not their job, all right? The Senate's job, this is how impeachment is supposed to work. The House of Representatives, they get all the information together. They conduct the trial. They say that the president should be impeached, and their whole case is built, and it's sent over to the Senate. The Senate sits there and listens to what the House discovered. And there's not supposed to be new information introduced. And the Senate basically says, yeah, the House either got it right or no, this is partisan and no, we don't believe that you got it right. That's the jobs, right? They're trying to basically try all new evidence. And they can't do that. That's the whole point. So they keep trying to change the rules to do that. Mitch McConnell is basically operating under the 1999 Clinton impeachment rules. He made some slight changes today with the opening statements and things like that. There was 24 hours over 2 days to make your opening statements. That has now been changed to 3 days. You have 24 hours over a 3-day period to go ahead and make those statements. Some minor little tweaks and changes and things like that. But for the most part, it's basically the 1999 rules. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, Democrat of California, the lead House manager for the impeachment trial of President Donald Trump, played the same deceptively edited clip Tuesday in the Senate that Democrats used in the House Judiciary Committee last month, misquoting Trump as having claimed that the Constitution gave him absolute power. He didn't say that. Again, Zoe Lofgren, Democrat of California, used the same clip later on. When Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, also a Democrat of California, you catching a theme here? By the way, California should, after the 2020 census, lose at least one House seat, maybe more. So Pelosi first misquoted the president as saying Article 2 says I can do whatever I want. That's what her quote was. Trump had been specifically referring to the power to hire and fire executive officials, specifically Special Counsel Robert Mueller, whom he did not, in the end, fire. Later during House Judiciary Committee hearings, Democratic counsel Norm Eisen, ironically, once the ethics czar for President Obama, used a deceptively edited video of a speech that Trump gave in July of 2019 to the youth group Turning Point USA. The context, again, was that the Mueller investigation was that he had the authority to do whatever he wanted there, but Democrats edited that out of the video that he presented to constitutional expert witness Noah Feldman, who participated in the Eisen and misleading the charade. Okay, basically, I know that some of you are like, I can't follow that, it's radio. Fair point. They're lying. They are saying that the president said things that he didn't say, and they are playing doctored video clips of him saying things that he didn't say. Okay? That's what they're doing. And they've been called out on this for many months, and they continue to do the same thing over and over again, which tells you that they really don't care that they're being honest. They just want to lie to everybody in order to go ahead and put on the show. So now, we also have, I want to go ahead and, you know what, I want to play this. Jay Sekulow. Can you go ahead and cue up my audio, please, Joe? Jay Sekulow basically went after Adam Schiff on executive privilege. And I want you to just listen how Jay Sekulow, he's one of the lawyers for for Trump. I want you to listen to what he said and who he quotes in talking about executive privilege.
Members, managers, right here before you today, who have said that executive privilege and constitutional privileges have no place in these proceedings. On June 28, 2012, Attorney General Eric Holder became the first United States Attorney General to be held in both civil and criminal contempt. Why? Because President Obama asserted executive privilege. With respect to the Holder contempt proceedings, Mr. Manager Schiff wrote, "The White House assertion of privilege is backed by decades of precedent that has recognized the need for the President and his senior advisors to receive candid advice and information from their top aides." Indeed, that's correct. Not because Manager Schiff said it, but because the Constitution requires it. Mr. Manager Nadler said that the effort to hold Eric Holder, Attorney General Holder, in contempt for refusing to comply with various subpoenas was, quote, politically motivated, and Speaker Pelosi called the Holder matter, and I quote, a little more than a witch hunt. What are we dealing with here? Why are we here? Are we here because of a phone call? Or are we here before this great body because since the president was sworn into office, there was a desire to see him removed?
All right, so that's Jay Sekulow. And, here's the thing. When you're talking about executive privilege, okay, which is one of the things that they are accusing the president of doing that was illegal, even though it's not illegal, but I digress. Jay Sekulow quoted Adam Schiff. So Adam Schiff is saying that the president using executive privilege is impeachable, and yet you go back to 2012, and Sekulow, again, one of Trump's attorneys, quotes Adam Schiff as saying that the president has the absolute right of that executive privilege. So again, we are catching the Democrats in a new strategy where they violate all of the things that they believe simply for political expediency. In 2012, Adam Schiff believed that the president of the United States, because the Constitution gives him this authority, has the right of executive privilege. Okay? And now Adam Schiff today says he doesn't believe that anymore and that the president of the United States no longer has executive privilege. If he tries to exercise it, it's obstruction of Congress, which of course it is not. So Jay Sekulow basically decimating Adam Schiff's own arguments here for impeachment by using Adam Schiff's own words. Meanwhile, Adam Schiff is playing deceptively edited videos and misquoting the president in order to deceive people about what is actually happening here. Now, while all of this is going on, you have reporters super sad that they have to go through metal detectors at the impeachment trial. God forbid you should enter a Capitol building and have to be secured. And they're saying that this is a violation of the First Amendment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, the reporters are now being held in a media area. You're not allowed to walk the halls with everybody who goes in for the impeachment trial anymore. And reporters are all saying that this is some kind of an affront to the First Amendment, which, of course, it is not. But it is pretty darned interesting to watch this happen. Capitol Hill, Radio TV Correspondents Association of Capitol Hill released a statement saying that they were, quote, vehemently opposed to the decision to install metal detectors. Adam Gentleson, a former deputy chief of staff and longtime Democratic Nevada Senator Harry Reid, used words such as chilling to describe the installation of metal detectors in the halls of Congress. Okay. New York Times correspondent, CNN political analyst Michael Shear called the arrangement an ominous moment for the press and democracy. These are the same people that are pushing for you to lose your right to own firearms without any evidence against you, and they're ticked off that they have to go through a metal detector? I don't know what to say. God forbid. We've got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel.
Impress. Alyssa Milano was mad they made her give up her phone. The same Alyssa Milano who illegally recorded and live streamed things that she was at in Congress. Should have been charged with a crime.
Enjoy Beethoven's Symphony No. 6 and other unique works, including rare instruments like the Chinese paper with the Self-Made Symphony Orchestra, Saturday, February 1st. Text the word music to 45364 or text 24 tickets. Speed the show today.
At Warren Chiropractic, they take care of many pain challenges.
I have neck and arm pain, numbness and tingling all the way down to my fingers. It keeps me up at night. I didn't think anyone could help until I found Warren Chiropractic.
I had this pain, started in my back, ran through my hip, and shot down my leg. It would wake me up nights and then nag me all day. But now, after discovering Warren Chiropractic, I'm able to live life pain-free.
Cardio drumming, bar, and functional fitness, it's my thing. So when I had to stop because of constant pain in my back and hip, part of me died. I tried multiple doctors, even physical therapy, no luck. And then I experienced Warren Chiropractic. Now I have my life back, and I couldn't have done it without their help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Don Warren. At Warren Chiropractic, our team is here to help you with physical therapy, massage, exercise programs, and of course, chiropractic. Let us help you with your pain so you can get back to your life. We're located in Osceola and online at warrenchiro.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to
Well, they're making the claim that the metal detectors are not about security. They're about making sure that people don't file stories while they're in the hearing.
ZipRecruiter.com/search.
That's what the Capitol Press Association is saying. It's just common sense security measures.
You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter.
Burger King fries are the worst, Frank.
You can try ZipRecruiter for free.
The worst.
That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. That's ZipRecruiter.com.
The idea that they even still serve those things is an abomination.
But you also want to buy from a dealer that you know and trust. And buying a car from a vending machine is cool, but what happens when you want to test drive that car first? And it happens to be a question. You're a live local expert to answer. The solution is Lock Money Fastlane online purchase experience for Lock Money Auto Group. Lock Money Fastlane takes you from shopping to driving 100% online and at your convenience. You can over 700 million vehicles can apply for financing and get instant approval. See your loan terms and monthly payment. Trade your current vehicle and secure your deposit. Then simply schedule a time for the vehicle to be delivered to your home or office. Wait, still want to test drive the car first? No problem. Schedule a test drive at any time you're happy to help in person at any point. The Lock Money Fastlane online purchase experience is only at LockMoney.com. Shop your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, GMC, Buick, Chevy, and Ford models, plus all makes and models of premium vehicles for every budget. Over 700 vehicles. Get the Fastlane to your next vehicle at LockMoney.com. Lock Money Auto Group, a traditional parent since 1954.
It's time for another Barnaby's Day at MyDealsMichiana.com. On Friday, you can visit My Deals Michiana to get 2 $25 gift certificates for the price of 1. Good for the Barnaby's Pizza, located on Grape Road in Mishawaka. Chow down on Michiana's favorite pizza. Plus, Barnaby's also has burgers, wings, a salad bar, and more. Text the word deals to 45364 to get a text alert when these certificates go on sale. That's deals to 45364, or sign up for emails at mydealsmichiana.com.
Impeachment.com. Impeachment proceedings underway in the Senate with the very latest. I'm Brooklyn Beatty.
I'm John Tierney. We're back with Michiana's Morning News first thing Wednesday, 95 MNC.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Let's see. The Guardian is reporting, this is according to Alex on the live stream, The Guardian is reporting that Amazon boss Jeff Bezos' phone has been hacked. They are blaming the Saudi crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Now, it's a developing story. I haven't been able to look into it. So we will see. I don't know how they would know exactly who is responsible for that, but we'll continue to update you on that, I guess, probably tomorrow. Maybe I'll look at it during the news break here in just a couple of minutes and see what I can find out. So that's breaking news right now. Cue my audio again. I want to go ahead and play you a very motivational, some might even say William Wallace-esque speech from Pete Buttigieg in Iowa. He's talking to a crowd of what looks like mostly older, pasty white people. I don't see anybody but pasty white people actually in this particular video, but I just want you to listen to this rousing speech from our former mayor, Pete Buttigieg.
By having better hands guided by better values on those pulleys and levers of American government. So can I look to you to spread that sense of hope to those that you know? Come on.
Yeah. There you go. Now, Pete Buttigieg campaign. Come on. That could be their new tagline. Project Veritas has released another video with yet another of the Bernie organizers praising Soviet gulags and dreaming up putting people in re-education camps. The undercover video released by Project Veritas on Tuesday shows a second organizer for Senator Bernie Sanders' campaign whitewashing the Soviet Union's gulags and again fantasizing about putting Republicans in re-education camps. Quote, "I'm ready to start tearing bricks up," says a man identified as Martin Weisgerber, who looks like he sips his lattes with his pinky in the air. Not that anything is wrong with that. It's just not traditionally a tough guy look. Anyway, he is a Sanders field organizer in South Carolina. According to the hidden camera footage, "I'm no cap bro," meaning he's no capitalist. "I'll straight up get armed. I want to learn how to shoot and go train. I want to learn how to shoot and go train." This guy is remarkably advanced in his revolutionary attitude to not even know how to fire a gun yet. If you're at a point where you're ready to tear bricks from bricks, either you're posturing and peacocking in front of somebody that you don't know is recording you, or you are really doing this wrong. I'm reminded, you remember that Doomsday Prepper show? Yeah, you remember that, Joe? And interesting show. And there's nothing wrong with prepping, by the way. I thoroughly dig the prepper community, but every now and then you run into somebody who really is clueless. And they had like these pacifist hippies on one episode. And they refused to arm themselves. They didn't arm themselves. They didn't take any measures. Now, remember, the whole point of this is that society is now collapsed and there's no government, there's no police, there's nothing. It's literally an apocalyptic world. And I remember this. The camera crew would ask this guy, like, how are you going to protect all of these things that you have, though? You're doing pretty good. You're growing some crops and you got some animals and things like that. And, you got your food supply all worked out. But what is to stop you what is to prevent somebody else from coming and just taking it from you? And he didn't really have an answer. And eventually he's like, well, I guess if they don't want to be peaceful about it, I'll take this hammer. Like, whoosh. It's like, okay. Somebody who's going to die. Clearly. So every time I see stuff like this, I'm just reminded of that one guy on that show. I got to post that clip. It's a funny clip. So anyway, Weisberger, who doesn't know how to shoot and hasn't trained at all, is totally ready for the revolution, bro, he says. He also is seen musing about whether Sanders should take over the legislative and judicial branches of government, seeking decision-making abilities on the issue of climate change. Which he did say that he was a communist. All right, this guy in the video straight up says that he is a communist. Do we just cease? Do we just dissolve the Senate, House of Representatives, the judicial branch, and have someone like Bernie Sanders and a cabinet of people make all of the decisions on climate? I mean, I'm serious, he says. In another part of the video, he suggests imprisoning Republicans in re-education camps will help the country. Quote, what will help is when we send all the Republicans to the re-education camps. Can you imagine Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham? In another cut, he continues with the whitewashed description of Soviet forced labor camps, which is enjoyed by all of the good little communists, by the way. The gulags were founded as re-education camps, he explains. People came from America to work on the, I don't even know what that word is. Anyway, it's a Soviet project for the Communist Project. He continues. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, the gulags are a beautiful thing. Years ago, before the last campaign, as people were learning who Bernie Sanders was, and obviously people in my industry are very familiar with Bernie Sanders. He's been around a long time, right? And when he was just getting recognized, I constantly have people, oh, he's a democratic socialist. I'm like, no, he's a communist. Bernie Sanders is not a democratic socialist. Bernie Sanders is not even a Marxist. He's a full-blown communist. That's who he is. Now, he's got a likable personality. He's charismatic and that sort of thing, and in the way that, a little old dude is. And we laugh and we find it endearing when he, hits a speed bag and gets popped in the face and almost knocked right on his butt. Yeah, it's amusing. It's a likability thing with him. He's almost got a Hollywood underdog likability about him. But Bernie Sanders is a communist. If you go through his entire political history, if you go through all of his writings, his musings, and all of the things that he has done and said, his speeches and things like that he gave, especially when he was younger, this is a guy who is full-blown communist. Not democratic socialist, which is a misnomer anyway. He's not this lighthearted type of socialism. He's a commie, which is why you find so many communists in his campaign. Now, let me just pose this question to you. For 2 presidential campaigns now, we've had an issue with Bernie Sanders staffers, okay? Senior level staffers, not volunteers, senior level staffers, abusing women, openly calling for violence, talking about putting their political opposition in re-education camps, all sorts of things, right? These are just some of the examples over the past 2 campaigns that we have found. Now, Bernie Sanders has continued. In fact, he just apologized for sexual abuse of women in his campaign here recently again. He also, for a long time, didn't pay people what he said everybody should be paid for a minimum wage. He had to get called out on that twice. 2 campaigns, finally adjusted his salary paying. If this is how Bernie Sanders runs his campaign, and these are the people that he surrounds himself with in the campaign, what are the likelihood that if he were to win this thing, he would surround himself with similar type people like this Weisberger guy or Weisgerber guy? Or the other guy from the other day who also praised gulags and called for violence in re-education camps of Republicans. So I don't even know what it means for you libertarians out there. And for those of you who are not politically affiliated, that's an interesting question for you. I don't know. So if you've got him picking these people to run his campaigns consistently through 2 presidential campaigns, and there seems to be a lot of them, who's he going to put in his cabinet if he were to win? Probably be some of those people. I mean, I'm sure they would find their way into his cabinet somehow, some way. Now, they're not going to be, everywhere probably, but they'll be in there and they'll have influence, and that's problematic. It really is. You have to think about this type of stuff. Who do these people surround themselves with? Now, Democrats made a big deal about that with President Trump when he was running. Who are the people that he surrounds himself with? Well, who are the people that Bernie Sanders surrounds himself with? Because right now, we seem to have a lot of evidence that they are at least petty criminals that get arrested on a routine basis, potentially use campaign funds to bail them out of jail, and call for violence against police, call for violent revolution, admit that they are communists, and call for people that they disagree with politically to be thrown into gulags, which aren't really that bad, and re-education camps. Those are the people that Bernie surrounds himself with. Got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among this afternoon's top stories, a lawsuit against the University of Notre Dame regarding their denial of certain birth control is moving forward.
A federal judge rejected a motion from the university to dismiss the case. The lawsuit names Notre Dame, along with several federal agencies, for their role in a deal that gave Notre Dame an exemption for the contraceptive mandate of the Affordable Care Act. With the exemption, the university changed its policy to cover only what they call simple contraceptives and requires those on the school's health plan to pay out of pocket. A release from one of the plaintiffs, Irish for Reproductive Health, says nobody should have to choose between what is right for their body and life and what they can afford. The South Bend Tribune reports there is a pretrial hearing scheduled for March. Brian Davis, MNC News.
And an organization in Michigan is looking to designate Darien County as a second...
It makes Northam look normal.
Michigan for 2A sanctuary counties presented a resolution directly to county commissioners earlier this week. Officials with the organization tell WSBT they're fed up with the push for new gun laws. Per a statement from the group, their proposal appears to have at least some support as the council...
Yeah, exactly, Alex.
Before they make a decision.
What would an oppressor tell you about their guns? I'm not going to come for your guns. What are you talking about?
Each county in Michigan to submit a resolution to force our elected officials to acknowledge our Second Amendment rights. The page has more than 85,000 members. Derek Wright, MNC News.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Rich Nicholson. The Senate impeachment trial of President Trump is underway, with White House attorneys and House impeachment managers clashing over how the case will proceed. House Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff questioning why the president has refused to cooperate with lawmakers. It is the president's apparent belief that under Article 2 he can do anything he wants, no matter how corrupt. White House counsel Jay Sekulow calling for a fair trial and blasting Democrats for what he believes is a lack of due process. Due process is designed to protect the person accused. The House impeached the president for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The president denies any wrongdoing again today, calling the impeachment a hoax. The first U.S. case of the
Michiana's news channel. Okay. Now I can pass it on to him if you give it to me.
Mostly clear skies for the remainder of your evening into tonight. Temperatures down
Hello.
below 20. So another cold night tonight.
I can pass it on to him if you give it to me.
Morning Wednesday, there will be some upper level cirrus clouds moving in, so some filtered sunshine with highs in the middle 30s. The ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center meteorologist Tyler Seaver.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
All Wall Street major averages falling amid concerns about the coronavirus in China and Boeing troubles. Shares of the airplane manufacturer dropping over 3% today after the company announced that it doesn't expect regulators to sign off on its...
Okay. I will do that, sir.
Ending a 5-session week, closing down 152 points. Nasdaq down 18, S&P 500 down 9. Shares of
Yeah.
slightly higher in the extended session after reporting a bump in revenue and global subscriber growth, but missed its forecast for U.S. subscriber growth and offered a soft outlook for the current quarter. Shares of IBM arrived after hours after the technology giant topped Wall Street estimates on earnings and outlook and turned in a surprise revenue gain driven by the company's cloud and cognitive software and
I'm sorry, say again. Nope, that's it. Nope.
At Capital One, you can open a new savings account in about 5 minutes and earn 5 times the national average. Banking with Capital One means 5 times the savings to help pay for your perfect honeymoon. Or 5 times the savings toward your family's perfect vacation. It's time to help make your savings goals come true.
Ooh.
This is Banking Reimagined.
What?
Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Read conditions based on FDIC national rates. Capital One NA member FDIC.
Comcast Business can help take your business beyond with amazing solutions and great deals. Comcast Business, beyond fast. Get started today at ComcastBusiness.com.
You're all Looks like you had a little fun ringing in the new year. I even met someone at the ball drop. I had on that gorgeous dress from Judy's. Oh, he's so cute and funny. But that's the problem. It's a problem that he's cute and funny? No, he loves my outfit for the New Year's party. And now what?
All these weird friend requests.
In less than 3 weeks, what am I ever going to wear? Wait, so you're not responding to this guy because you don't know what to wear after the New Year's dress? Yeah, just go to Judy's. You know, they have everything from formal wear to women's daily wear with the latest fashions and top designers like Karen Kane, Bailey 44, a Cruz, and Joseph Ripkoff. They have specially trained associates, Judy girls. They give complimentary color and style analysis. They never let you leave the store with any.
Yeah, Hillary had pneumonia that lasted over a year. And she still has it. She went into a coughing fit a couple weeks ago.
It's the best brands for the best you. Now locations in Breaker, LaPorte, and now open in Valparaiso. Message and data rates may apply. Earning your degree from one of the top business schools in the country might sound impossible to fit into your workload. But what if there were a business degree that advanced your career skills and gave you access to world-renowned faculty, leaders, and mentors all on your schedule? One that opened doors to some of the most influential CEOs, tech companies, law firms, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. And what if you could earn that degree in as little as 16 months, 100% online? Find out more. Text DRIVE to 79645. Start on the path to earning your MBA or Business Analytics Master's degree online from the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University today. Learn more about the graduate programs from the top-ranked W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University, offered 100% online. Text DRIVE to 79645. That's DRIVE to 79645.
Foodies from all over are discovering the Tristan-Naphany from Route 1
Less than a minute.
Grove and brewery to be well worth it. Featuring an open 2-story layout with big city look and feel, but offering small town service.
It's no fun being popular, man.
Wouldn't know.
Let you know. That's what he said.
Wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know. Although my lighting is decent now. Now that the sun has gone down.
Mirador 23 is Granger's newest business development, located on the south side of State Road 23 between Dunwood and Capitol. Mirador 23 is zoned for business, including accommodations for medical, professional office space, and retail tenants. Office layouts are customized to fit the unique needs of each tenant with a superior level of sophistication and professionalism. Mirador at 23 is set to open in late spring, so contact us today to learn more about reserving your company space. Visit rentgranger.com. That's rentgranger.com.
From the final phase electric studios. From the first step to the final phase. Industrial and commercial electrical. This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Got to tell you about Impress Jewelry Creations. This place is amazing. You know, Bill Martin and the team over there, you look at the 4 goldsmiths they have in the back, it's centuries worth of experience that they have back there. And it shows in the work that they do. You know, when you look at the IJC collection, this all-new collection of manufactured in-house, one-of-a-kind pieces from Impress Jewelry Creations, and you are going to understand what all of the talk is about. I mean, this is just an amazing place. They have phenomenal jewelry from some of the best brands in the entire world, without a doubt. And the stuff that they do on their own, like I said, nobody else is ever going to have that piece. You know, you can go to a jewelry store that has chains all over the country, and what they have done is they've started to outsource some of that stuff to China, and they're chemically or artificially recreating those pieces. They're not natural. And they do that so that way they can sell that same piece at all of their locations, whether they have hundreds of them or thousands of them or whatever it is. Okay. And they do this by outsourcing to China. Impress Jewelry Creations is not doing that, right? So you go, you get a high quality piece, and it is just an amazing, exquisite piece that nobody else is ever going to have on them. So when you buy it for somebody special and unique to you, they're going to get a special and unique piece. Go to ImpressJewelers.com. And again, you can just learn a little bit more about the team. You can go ahead and see a little bit about what they do. If you follow them on social media, I highly recommend you follow them on Facebook and Instagram. They're really good about posting on social media. And, of course, they have much more knowledge about any of this than most of us do. And so when they're able to explain why something looks the way that it looks, what the process is, how long it takes, it's just absolutely astounding. They showed me this amazing pearl necklace the other day that just the pearls growing was about 40 years. And that didn't include the generations of oysters that had to be groomed, made, and aged to be able to develop those pearls. So we're talking about over a century's worth of work going into one necklace. And that's just an example, okay? But they have things for all kinds of budgets. And guys, they've got these custom leather belts with some exotic leathers, and you can get the buckles engraved however you want. So it's a totally custom gift. Great gift to give to somebody, especially Valentine's Day coming up. Go to ImpressJewelers.com or visit them in person at 1233 University Drive in City Plaza South in Granger. And again, they're right next to Temper Grill or C. Kramer Interiors. Okay, so the story on Jeff Bezos. According to The Guardian, the Amazon billionaire Jeff Bezos had his mobile phone hacked in 2018 after receiving a WhatsApp message that had apparently been sent from the personal account of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. In other news, Jeff Bezos and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia chat on WhatsApp. So that's nice. The encrypted message from the number used by Mohammed bin Salman is believed to have included a malicious file that infiltrated the phone of the world's richest man, according to results of a digital forensic analysis. This analysis found it highly probable that the intrusion into the cell phone was triggered by an infected video file sent from the account of the Saudi heir to Bezos. And again, he's the owner of the Washington Post, too. But the two men had been having a seemingly friendly WhatsApp exchange when, on the 1st of May of that year, an unsolicited file was sent, according to sources who spoke with The Guardian. Large amounts of data were exfiltrated from Bezos' phone within hours, and the extraordinary revelation of the future king of Saudi Arabia may have had a personal involvement in the targeting of an American founder of Amazon will send shockwaves from Wall Street to Silicon Valley, they say in The Guardian. Not really, but it's an interesting... So this happened in 2018, and we're just learning about it now, but apparently they got a lot of data off there. I don't know if the Crown Prince was actually involved or not, no clue. But just passing it on to all of you. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Michiana.
Not that the Saudi Crown Prince would ever do anything like that. Excuse me. Global warming caused better lighting. We all have a little prince that we chat with, right, Alex? Every one of us. Yep, that's what they call it. Oh, God, Omar is Secretary of Defense. Oh, thanks for the follow, Heartland. Appreciate that. Wish I knew what the heck was going on. I did. I woke up, I couldn't talk. And I've just been lagging all day. So something's trying to get me. I don't know what it is. God, she has been talking almost as long as Adam Schiff.
That's the dude.
Not the Nick. No. Shut up. I like how he gets his big TV moment and he goes with a friggin' turd brown blazer, though.
I don't think he's not even wearing matching pants.
you know what, this is what other clients have done.
They're black.
They look like they're black.
We're counselors. We're here to help.
It's not a bad color. It just doesn't look good.
You know, the coat isn't fitted. That's the problem.
Oh yeah.
It's the coat. No, that's not Michelle Obama. That's clearly a chick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I thought it was when I first looked up there. And I went, no, her hair's longer and she's a little bit skinny. Like her face is thin.
If it were Michelle Obama, it could be a guy. Even though I don't ascribe to that theory, it's just a theory that is out there. Well, Ilhan would have to be the Treasury Secretary because Ilhan's the one that has all the campaign finance problems. So you got to put her in as Treasury Secretary. Is that so? Who is that again? What's his bucket? Is that the dude that we hear here all the time? Yeah.
It was like his name, but it was like, no, I can't say his name.
Right. Right.
I guess I could write it. But
It's the one that set off the last stink.
yeah. It was that dude. The one that got really upset. That would be him. I don't know where other dude is though. Interesting that he's not just there.
No idea.
Maybe he. I want to make a joke, but I don't know if it'd be a good thing.
Just don't.
I'm not going.
Just don't.
I'm not going to.
Because even if nobody knows what we're talking about, they'll know, and that's enough.
Like anytime, by the way.
Good. Good. I want to talk to you anyway.
We're gonna have like 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
This last week. We went a couple of minutes long and we had this break thing.
Right. I mean, Omar could be in charge of immigration too. She does kind of look like that dude. What are those little guys that Jabba the Hutt had as a pet that were being rotisseried on The Mandalorian? Yeah.
Those things?
Yeah.
They have like the giant ears and the
Mm-hmm. Somebody says Pelosi looks like one of those. All right, here we go. I'm literally just closing out the show here, so.
53 MNC.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Before we bounce on out of here, don't count me down 10 seconds early, man. Before we bounce on out of here, Illinois Democrats have admitted that a mistake that they made allowed non-citizens to vote in the 2018 election. Here's Bill O'Reilly in the O'Reilly Update.
I made a mistake.
I lost 3 seconds by addressing your mistake.
Oh, I realized it. Yeah, I realized that you didn't have to comment on it.
I know.
That was your.
I felt like it was a theme, so we would have to do it.
Fast track the upcoming impeachment trial.
All right, so any questions, comments before I get out of here? I don't have to bounce out as quick as I did yesterday because my kid was having a meltdown, but
NFL rating shaky.
she shook it off right after we got off. She recovered. Everything was fine. Went to Hobby Lobby, made some soap last night, so everything's good.
But first, Senate Majority Leader McConnell, considering the implementation of
All right. Get the daily show prep up there. I'm not putting a podcast up there. I didn't feel like myself today. What is it, Tuesday?
Don't worry about the recording.
Nah, I wouldn't even worry about it, man. They admitted it. Believe it or not. Tuesday, January, which I misspelled. God dang. I'm a mess today.
Oh, I need that still open.
I'm pretty sure I walked into Southwest Vision Center to pick up my new glasses today. And I'm pretty sure the people that were in there in front of me recognized me. They didn't say anything. And I'm fairly certain that when I was waiting up at the thing, because the girl knows me, she just went and got my glasses and came back. And I asked, like, you guys are still doing the discount for my listeners, right? Like, you haven't switched to a different promotion. And they're like, oh, yeah, we are. And I swear to God, I didn't realize it at the time, but she goes, yeah, those people right there were just asking about it. Which in my head would mean, hey, these people are in here, our listeners, I should go say hello. And it went right over my damn head. And I walked out, and I'm like driving down the road, and went, it's like I'm so out of it. Oh, vacuum surgery. I get that job a lot. That sucks. Oh. I don't know who this lady chatting is right now. She will not shut up, though. She has been yapping for a long time.
So, ready when you are.
All right. Casey Hendrickson here. Scientists think that they have cured cancer. We'll tell you all about it Wednesday, 3 to 6 on 95.3 MNC. True story, bro. True story. It was not a great show, Comet, but I appreciate the line. Thank you. And it was a moderately acceptable okay show. But
yeah, you've done worse.
I have done worse. I remember when I wasn't pulled in a million different directions. I remember when I could just sit here and do my damn show the way that I want to do my show. I'm just letting everybody know there is talk about kind of talking with the company about it. We may take the live stream to 1 day a week. So I know that some of you are going to be upset about that. It's not a done thing yet, but that may end up happening. So we will see, okay? But we're talking about it. And there's some good points being made. Let's see. All right, well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here.
B100 got their own beer.
What?
They got their own beer.
Like I started the whole damn beer thing in this building, and I still don't have my own beer. I mean, other than Dark Side Stout, which I made myself. Get nothing. Get nothing. We used to do that with a different brewery. I remember like Jason Lee and Cluck had their own beer for a while, but apparently it was really bad. I forget who they partnered with. They're not even open anymore.
Are they still doing? Yeah, they are still doing music to my beers.
It's not going to be for very long. The ratings aren't very good, they said. But
well,
yeah, you've lost a dynamic without a doubt. I think they're fading even with him, but it's not okay. It's not a foregone conclusion. The stream is going away, and it will not go away permanently. They're talking about doing it once a week, so maybe like on Fridays. Okay, it's not set in stone yet. We'll see. That would mean that I would be creating different types of content throughout the week, and the live stream for the radio show would be something that would happen like once a week. But like I said, it's kind of predicated on a couple of different things. So we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm just giving you guys a heads up. It's not happening right now. Okay, just giving you a heads up that it may happen. All right. Yeah, it's taking 40 viewers a day. It's taking a dent out of the ratings, right? No, that's not it. All right, I'm gonna bounce out of here, folks. I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully, this whatever it is trying to get at me isn't related to China in some way, shape, or form. So I'll see you.